So, welcome.
No, you're right.
Welcome to Castle Falkenstein.
Just to make a nice change, I'm actually hosting us for a change.
The horror.
So rarely remember.
I'm not hosting us. I sincerely hope we're live. She says optimistically.
Since we're not live on your channel, you really should be hosting us.
Oh, good point, yeah.
I know we are live because I just went to the Hint Plays to make sure I was hosting.
Yep.
I've just started recording a backup.
I'm also now hosting us. Shut up. Fortunately, I don't have a giveaway bot. So yes, welcome to episode 5, would you believe, of the Chekhov observations for Castle Falkenstein. Last episode, it was an extensive conversation in the coffee house that's led to a group of daring do capable heroes. Yeah. Deciding to chase down the potential lead of Ewan Davis, a mage of the same order as Alexei.
Yes, indeed.
Led to a visit to the colonnades, which is where the druids hang out in central London.
Yes, I wasn't impressed with them. They were terribly reluctant to give me tea.
Yes, they didn't do tea.
Did we not spoil your tea?
Yes. After all that.
Oh, thank God it will show what we're laughing at because it's going through on the stream now.
When the joke you made before stream suddenly appears the moment you go live. Hydration bot.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be one of those again. Okay. Yes, you decided to investigate. Ooh. You okay then, Knight?
Absolutely fine. This is normal. Well, it has been normal for most of this week anyway.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Dear.
Hence the lack of normal streaming on my part, not going to London yesterday.
Yeah, that's fair. If you need to take time, do so and we can sort something out. Okay. Yes, he went to the colonnades, and while everybody else was lurking in the strangers' lounge with inadequate tea, Alexei went up to the residential area, where he had a dorm room, being entitled to stay here, and felt a massive build-up of magical energy, which led to a detonation in Ewan's bedroom. It's very much quarters. That's the word I'm looking for.
Chambers. That's a word. Chambers. I think.
We're not in your area town.
And as a result, there was quite an extensive little fire, which was put out with the aid of magically created water and sand. The sand was not magical. Livercane spotted a miscreant fleeing over the back garden wall and pursued in ethereal form, leading to quite an extensive chase over the rooftops of central London. And this resulted in him very nearly catching up, only to narrowly dodge a small bag containing cold iron, which was lobbed at his head. However, he was able to identify from the description the gentleman he was following was Benjamin Hawke, the extraction expert and fixer, who is certainly tied up in, if not responsible for, the disappearance of Chekhov. Meanwhile, someone's ringing bells.
Sorry.
For whom the bell tolls.
Meanwhile, Alexei and Carter have discovered the scorched remains of Ewan in his burnt-out room, and Alexei has discovered a knife that was inside Ewan at the time of the explosion, with runes along the blade.
I thought it was by the window, and Knights acquired it.
Sorry, yes, my apologies. Yeah.
I'm assuming that the explosion detonated the knife across the room.
Yes. Sorry,
Which
I was
picked up,
getting
and as I left, it was at my sleeve.
yes, getting ahead of myself there on where it was. Oopsie. What a giveaway. And yes, has squirreled it away up his sleeve. The druids of the house are all now circulating. The fire is out, but it's kind of chaotic. Livercane has just returned, and Randolph was downstairs placating the maitre d', and has just run out of
anyone. He doesn't do placating.
distracting, intimidating.
He was certainly doing distracting. Yes.
Yes.
That's the thing he was doing.
How
So
about duplicating the maitre d'? That would be interesting.
Exacerbating.
yes.
Exacerbating, that would be a good thing. That's something that Randolph can do.
So I am going to start this episode at the entrance just outside the colonnades. I'm not going to make you talk your way out. This scene will begin just
I
outside.
don't think we needed to talk our way out, did we? I thought if we
pretty
wanted
much
not to leave, we'd have to
pushed out.
talk our way into staying. They seemed quite determined that they wanted us to leave.
They
If I
did.
remember rightly, I was the only one still inside because Carter had shouted he'd meet me at the cafe.
I'm pretty certain that I got ushered.
I think everyone else was ushered out.
Yeah.
So yes, you guys can all leave the building, and we will start there. So, scorched and stinking of smoke as you are, what is your plan, guys?
I'm going to make a guess that didn't go quite according to plan.
Quite right.
That depends if we had a plan.
That is a very good point.
Well,
I'm guessing that
your
Master
friend being
Davies.
dead wasn't the plan.
I'm guessing that Master Davies is no longer available to talk to.
Yeah, you could say that.
Unless you know medium.
Not one of my skills.
Yes.
Pity we could have done with a happy medium.
However, I suggest we repair to somewhere more comfortable to discuss our findings.
Okay.
That seems reasonable, yes.
So,
What time of day is it?
I hate to have to say it, but it's mid-afternoon.
Mid-afternoon.
Back
What
to
was
the
our
weekend.
other lead?
Right. Your
We
other
had
lead.
two, didn't we?
You actually had several.
So,
We had Barradale Club as well, didn't we?
and we've got the dwarves who were in the horse and cab that was being drawn by a piebald horse, which is not that common.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to the retreating to somewhere more comfortable, what happened to you when you shot out the window?
I would rather not discuss that on the streets.
Okay,
Perhaps we should talk
'cause-
about that somewhere more comfortable.
yes, but I'm thinking with the matter of our first lead now being dead, time is possibly a thing we don't have.
Was there anyone else we actually wanted to talk to? Because those are
Okay.
the only people who are... yeah.
You got the dwarves that we were going to go to the taxi cab firm, I believe, and see if anyone knew of the horse that was pulling them,
Yeah.
and see if we could locate them. We also had Alistair at the Barradale Club.
You also
Yes, I-
identified the possible source of the cold iron weapon, but that was a very long shot, which is a man called Nikolai, a Slavic weapons broker.
That's why I've got that name down.
Yep. But yes,
I
certainly.
apparently have the wrong notepad because it's got my notes for every game except this one.
But yes, certainly you were being tailed by a cab pulled, as said, by a piebald horse, in which the two dwarves who were seen talking to Chekhov were sitting, and who legged it on being discovered.
What was the name of the coffee house that we were using before?
The Majestic.
The Majestic. Did it have private rooms, sir?
It has private room.
That
It
may be
does.
sufficient. I'm sure we only need one.
It has a private upstairs room, yes.
If it's got a private upstairs room, then we can always go and see whether or not that's currently occupied then.
Which is closer, the coffee house or the cab? The taxi firm.
You're probably looking at the coffee house. It's largely much of a muchness.
Okay.
So I suppose the question is, are we definitely going to speak to the cab people? Because if we are, it seems pointless to go and have a conversation about the fact that we're going to go and speak to the cab people, then go and speak to them, when instead we
Exactly.
can speak to them and then go and have a conversation about what we found out.
I believe that would be in order.
And as we're probably going to hail a cab to get wherever we're going anyway.
You want to go back to the depot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would be my logic anyway.
All right.
I got no argument against it.
You see,
Agreed.
I'm actually going to faint now because they're going with what I wrote up.
Holy shit! Let's go somewhere else.
It has to happen at least once in
I've
a
just
given.
changed my mind. Yeah, no, I don't like this plan at all. Should we come up with another one?
Well, we could always do it differently. I'll go to the cab house while you guys go and discuss what Knight's got up his sleeve.
We can-
no.
Knowing that there is an expert assassin armed with cold iron weaponry out there, we should definitely split up our party.
Any suggestion to do so, Lyricane is vehemently against.
Don't you know?
Oh yeah, but you three will be fine. You're in a group.
You will also notice that Lyricane is not sparkling as he usually does. So.
It's kind of lost a little
I
zest.
suppose we can have the
Other
conversation in the
people
cab.
may notice Randolph is a party too.
Yeah. Right. Let me just get.
I've remembered why my notes aren't in this book. It's because they're in my character sheet.
That's the point. I haven't opened that.
I
Yes.
realised this when I realised I hadn't yet opened said character.
That's the thing. Character sheets are far less important in this game.
It's my journal, rather. Let's get that right.
Yes. Yes, you've been doing some journaling.
And which
'Cause
copy of my journal has the notes in?
I just had a. Oh, right. Yes, I'd better actually open the game.
It's a lizard. What the hell?
Noise is off. Right.
If we're introducing Michael Frayn to this, then
That's cheating. Yeah, that's a whole new ball game, so to speak.
a whole new genre, I think.
Right, and I need that one. Oh, we're putting it in that monitor, are we? Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Windows, for randomly allocating programs to different monitors.
Yes, I've just had that on my stream. It's like,
Yeah.
everyone can see that now.
Yep. Come on, open. Move. Thank you. Stop it. Honestly. Just because I asked it to open two
Yeah, no.
files simultaneously.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember how to do it.
How did you know I was going to say that?
Excuse me.
I don't think it's doing a lot, but I look very dark one-sided. Yeah, I could do with one.
Ah, families, eh? What are you going to do?
Trained.
Fair enough. Right. So. Right, so you're headed to the Majestic. After you go to
We're
the...
going to the cab.
We go to the
Yeah.
You must.
It's the Bluebird...
If they come through too much on the background, let me know.
If they come through too much in the background, you'll probably see us spontaneously crack up laughing.
Possibly, because they are playing games on the Switch, so it's highly possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I don't know how sensitive this new headset is.
Quite. Let's just
Yeah, I
go
thought
with
it might be.
It does seem
quite.
to be reasonably sensitive, yes.
It's
Yes.
clearly a good headset.
Yes. I wouldn't say it's
Providing the
overly...
batteries last.
Yes, I wouldn't say it's overly sensitive, but I wouldn't sneak up behind it with a burst pack of crisps or anything. So, you're at the Bluebird Cab Company, or rather, it's the Bluebird Cab Company you're going for.
Bluebird.
Yep.
They must be the custard.
Yep. It's the heat. It's got to everybody's brains.
No, this is because he didn't go to Twitch London. He's got to get them out somewhere.
Yeah.
with the niche UK references.
This is me slowly recovering from the absolute horrendousness that's prevented me from going to London yesterday.
So long as it's not the Nightingale Cab Company, because then, of course, they wouldn't be able to serve Berkeley Square.
Oh, God.
I need to draw 2 jokers and keep them stashed in my hand.
I bet you they're record-breakingly quick.
Yes, probably.
So back on topic. These cabs, how?
Giving serious thought to a meteorite hitting central London at this stage.
All died.
Are we able to have a fairly private discussion in these cabs as we go along?
Everybody knows that in fiction, tents and cabs are completely soundproof.
Yes, this is common.
Yeah, but I'm just making sure before we go
Yes.
ahead and start.
I've read the Tough Guide to Fantasyland. I know how this works.
This isn't Fantasyland, however.
Isn't it?
Holmes frequently had conversations in cabs about any manner of things that were
Yes.
confidential, and not one cabbie ever posted it in the paper.
Yeah, what is the GDPR rating on the cabbie?
I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
That's the point. Shall we set up the ICO in
Yeah. You assume, bold assumption they don't exist. Oh god, it's still too hot. Right. Okay. But see, I'm not used to the idea that you're actually doing what I expect you to do, because my brain's now just going, no. What's this?
I apologise that we don't have the cab sound effects this week, because I forgot to actually open up Sirenscape.
Okay.
There we go. Just done.
Excuse me.
No worries. So, at the cab company, or rather heading towards the cab company, discuss away, dear chaps.
What exactly are we going to ask?
Well,
We want to know about the horse.
What more? We want to know about the 2 dwarves in the carriage drawn by the horse.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to find out much about them unless we can find that carriage.
The problem is, you see, we're here having a confidential conversation in a cab, whose confidentiality is rather dependent on them not telling anyone who comes along and asks about the people who ride in their cabs. So,
One wonders whether or not sufficient
But-
coin will...
There is that, but we don't actually need to know about them per se, only the locations of to and from.
We just need to know where the cab drawn by the piebald pony picked up the 2 dwarves from. That's it. That much is pretty unique and specific, I would reckon, to their records.
Where it dropped them off, I think, is probably more of more interest to us, though.
I suspect possibly both. If only to see whether it's the same place.
They apologise to Quinn in advance.
Apology accepted.
Okay.
They say apology accepted.
It's okay, they're just going out to however many people watch us and then watch it on YouTube forever. It's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as you don't mind, that's fine.
If there's actual sounds of bloodshed over Switch games, however, then we may have to have negotiations.
No, my camera and mic will probably be both off at that point.
Dad mode.
But so now we know to panic when the camera and the mic both are on.
Yes.
Not always, because sometimes it's a smoke.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you,
Hey,
Shard.
Shard.
And hello. Okay. Right.
Carter, I believe you brought a present along.
Sharp pointy
Yeah.
thing.
Sorry, I was just catching up with chat. Oh shit! Yeah, I'm Carter. Yeah, I have a trophy, a memento, you might call it. I shall pull the dagger out from my sleeve.
Do I get any uncomfortable feeling from this?
No.
I'm sad about that because we've been sat in the same carriage for a
Yeah,
while
it's,
now.
yes, Livercane quietly
Goes
keels
really
over
well
dead.
into his sleeve.
So Hawk couldn't do it, but Knight carrying it up his sleeve did.
Oopsie. That's stupid
Yeah.
deaths, stupid deaths. Right. So, yes, it's about 8 inches long. and you don't get any buzz or any weird feelings off it. It's whatever it is, it's not made of cold iron.
Oh.
And there are indeed runic symbols etched along the blade.
Now, if I remember rightly, I did a check to realise it was something to store a spell in.
Mm-hmm.
Did we acknowledge whether it had to be used by a sorcerer?
No. So far as you know, the circumstance for activating the spell was programmed in when the spell was embedded.
Okay.
Now, to
Essentially,
clarify
it was
my
one shot
recollection,
to
Rats,
Mhm.
were the etchings on both sides of the blade or one side?
No, but that was like too tight, wasn't it?
She says, going to her notes. The etchings are on both sides,
Okay, that's what I'm
irrespective of what I said last week, but I'm fairly sure that yes, it's both sides.
So, I will explain to them that it's a magical artifact that's used to store a spell in. At a guess, it is what was used to kill Mr. Ewan and
Mr.
what
Davis.
caused the explosion.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, I don't know who either threw it, stabbed him, or what.
Well, we got a pretty good idea who threw it. It would need to be someone athletic with a good aim that could run like hell afterwards.
Someone who's
They're okay.
known for killing people.
I don't suppose you got a good description of the guy you chased, did you?
Oh, it was Mr. Hawk indeed.
That's what I thought. Yeah, we know who threw it.
I'm a little
However,
concerned about where this ends. I mean, they hired a mage, a magic user person, to assist them with a scheme. Then they appear to have hired another one to give them an item that they could use to kill off the first one. So, who's
Or-
going to be dead next?
Or
either someone
Mr.
is
Davis was unwillingly put the spell in, not knowing what it was going to be used for.
Chrono?
either somebody
Signature
is
of his own doom. I actually like the poetry in that.
Sorry.
there is something rather poetic about that. However, I mean we already know that there are multiple parties at work here. So it is either somebody who is covering their own tracks, a single party covering their own tracks, or agents of the opposition who are making sure that other folk involved, who will probably be relevantly prominent. I mean, if we spotted him, who's to say that others didn't?
Yes.
With that said, Luricane,
Yes.
you got a good look of him. I have to ask, because you're not looking quite as bright as you normally do. I assume he's seen you.
He has indeed. How good his eyesight is from spotting me 50 foot up and translucent, I do not know, but it was enough for him to attempt a shot, which disorientated me sufficiently to lose track of him on, was it Buckingham Row?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was escaping through the gardens behind the colonnades, and once he hit the main road, he lobbed very unsportingly what can only be described as a vicious grenade, and absconded.
You mean it was
Didn't hear a
it was
second.
more dangerous than a bag of bolts? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not exactly sure what it contained, but it felt like it was it seemed like it had the heft of a bag of sand with cold iron embedded within it.
It's a small pouch, about yay big. Probably no bigger than a
Yeah,
large fist, yeah.
I
Grenade's
described it.
actually a pretty...
Right, he's going to be really pissed off. Clearly, he's thrown his dice bag at you and must have had a couple of high-end cold iron dice in there, probably from
We
the
can-
Cheap Workshop.
We can only hope that cold iron caltrops are
Well-
not part of his.
Let's hope his
Hang on a minute.
eyesight's not as good as it perhaps should be, because if what Carter has told us before, we now have a member that's in his eyes.
His aim.
I think, given his reputation, we can probably assume that he's quite good at picking up details on a single glance.
I would imagine so.
I'd
His
say so.
aim is uncannily good.
Well,
He's
at
only
least
very narrowly avoided striking me.
Yeah, I will
I
tell
suppose
you.
there's one good thing to come out of it. If nothing else, we have some bait.
I raise an eyebrow at that.
So do I.
I love the idea of
It
Livercane being
had
used
to
as
be
bait.
said.
I
He is going to be a target.
know
Yeah.
that I am prone to the ostentatious at times. However, I would be rather put out to put myself out there, as it were, for
didn't mean to
anything
put
less
you on-
than a more
I think we'd
secure
all
plan.
be rather put
I
out
didn't
if you were to
mean
get
that we
killed. We're getting used
dangle
to
you
having
on the
a-
end of a line waiting.
Why, thank you so
It
quickly.
was more of a case of he's going to be looking for you rather than us looking for him.
There is that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to need to hunt him down now. I think he'll find us. We just need to make sure that we're ready when he does. In the meantime, horses and dwarves and piebald ponies are mine.
Yes.
Because I don't think worrying too much about Benjamin Hawke at the moment is going to be productive.
I
We
doubt
don't
we
know where
have.
to find him. We don't know what his next move is. But your question, I reckon, is right. If I was in his frame of mind, I've just taken out the guy that helped him get Chekhov out of the building. Is it possible that that same guy made the dagger that was used to kill him? Possibly. Would they get someone else to do it? Also possibly. Who would I be
If
going
it was
for?
me,
I suppose.
I'd probably have the same guy do it without him realising what the end purpose was.
I
Is
would.
there any way of telling what, like, who made the runic blade or who inspelled the runic blade? Like, can you tell if it is actually somebody of your school?
Well, the first question has to be if this chap was from the same academy as you, could you have made it? Not did you make it, could you have? Because if you couldn't, then there's no guarantee he could.
Right, I would like you to make me a sorcery check, please.
For what am I looking? Yeah. What suit am I looking for?
You are looking for just 1 second.
Yeah, rule books, that's another thing I should possibly consider opening.
I think we can safely say nobody is fully on the ball today. There are several balls, and nobody is on any of them. Sorcery is diamonds.
Yeah, I was afraid you were going to say that.
That's life.
All the people say.
So a good starts me off on 6, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. All I've got is that. I've got nothing else.
Okay. So that brings you up to an 8.
But
Right. Okay.
would...
That's enough to get you that. This is, although this is clearly magical and embedded spells, it is not a style that you are familiar with from your lodge. So it's a different lodge.
So probably not created by a druid then.
Yeah. It's the differences in handwriting. Magical sigils are all essentially common, but it is effectively like handwriting differences between the different lodges. It's a different font. So, a druid, no.
This
A druid
is
did not make this.
Helvetica. And druids would never use Helvetica.
No, yes, this is more Hermetica.
So long as no one's using Comic Sans, we're okay.
Ah,
Well, these are
Basically.
villainous, dastardly types. They probably are.
A question for you,
Another reason
Carter.
to take them out.
I think you're muted, Chrono.
Yes, I was.
That's good. Hey, I noticed straight off, yes. Not sure if you heard that, but basically Alexei has worked out that he's not able to identify who has committed the enchantment, but it's not a druid. It's in
Sure.
a form of the sigils are from a different lodge. It's not from his.
I have a question for Carter. With your knowledge of Hawk, is
Yeah.
it possible he could have imbued it himself?
No, he's
Never
the
had
man
any
of a
magical
physical
dealings.
nature.
Nothing you have heard of indicates that he himself has sorcerer's abilities.
It was just
Why
a
people
path I
that-
wanted to close before I delved
Well-
down it.
Then I have to ask, and Alexei, Carter, you're the two people who might be able to give me an answer to this. Is there a black market in such items?
Magical items. Yeah, bound to be.
So could it be something non-specific, not created specifically for this task, but just that he picked up from someone who sells it?
It's a very specific spell that was in it to cause an explosion.
Yeah, I get the impression whilst there might be a black
I
market in.
wouldn't have said causing an explosion was a very specific spell. I can see a lot of potential uses for it. And it's not the most
For the-
subtle way of taking somebody out. So maybe
From what I saw and how the explosion occurred, it was very focused. So the spell, I would assume, would have to be rather niche.
It
The
would,
generic explosion is going to take walls out.
it would come down to the activation conditions.
Right.
Whether it was specifically when stabbed into somebody, when stabbed into that specific person, or brought inside the building, for
I don't think we
example.
have any way of knowing.
So do I have any knowledge of any black market places we could go and inquire about the exact spell that was put into it?
Likewise, do I know such black marketplaces?
Unfortunately, not in London.
No, it's a bit out of my
Yeah.
niche area.
Sorry, Neo. It's the giggling's getting a bit on the strident
Sorry.
side. That's all right. I know.
I mean, yeah, I'll find you an enchanted boomerang if you want to head to Wimberley with me.
Ouch. Yeah, but it doesn't come back.
That's the
Well,
enchantment.
that depends on what the enchantment is, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. God. So, yes, you don't know of any places that would sell such things, Neo, offhand. Certainly not within London. Your stamping ground was East Anglia. And even so, it's not really something that sorcerers tend to let out into the wild a lot.
Yeah, that was more the gist of my question, was less do you know somewhere where we can buy these things, as more do you know if there are people who sell such things? Is there a black market in them? Because obviously if they're tightly controlled, it's like, you know, there's in any given modern day society there's likely to be a black market probably in firearms, less likely to be a black market in nuclear material. So it's all down to what the level of control.
Yeah. As far as you know, such things would be reluctant to sell them because you don't know where they're going to end up.
You don't know when it's going to be stabbed into you and blow you up in your own bedroom, for example, going back to the idea that it could have been him who did it, even though we've mostly dismissed that.
That's a hell of a cocker. Oh. Oh.
Persuading,
Anyone else
Persuading
expecting our
any
blood
mage.
splashes coming
I
off?
think. Persuading any mage to make a weapon that is suitable for taking out mages requires a pretty high roll, I think.
A high roll, a high level of trust between the mage and the customer.
Yeah.
Or
Or just
something
one
like
very
a
dishonest mage.
Hawk having.
Or yes, a lot of money.
I would have said a very dishonest mage is going to be less likely to make them because they're going to be the person who is most worried about it ending up in between shoulder blades.
Okay.
Same reason when you go to buy a gun from a dodgy person who doesn't put the bullets in it.
This is true. What Alexei can tell, however, is that the spell has discharged. The item could probably be cleaned up and used again, but
That's the next thing I was going to ask. Is it an item that has been created so that spells can be put in it, or an item that had a spell on it? If it's an item that's been created to store spells, then it needn't have been made by the same person who cast the spell into it, need it?
Nope.
So yeah,
It's things like
That-
Alexi's staff, sorry, could hold spells.
that you see that changes things slightly. If you
So we're not necessarily looking for the forger of the blade, but more the
person who
wizard
cast the
that put the
spell,
magic in it.
yeah. For all we know, this could be an item that Hawk has had for some time and used a number of different spells for different circumstances.
That's
This
what I was about to.
required him to sacrifice the blade.
Then he probably wants it back.
Probably,
Now that
yeah.
is our bait.
But if he's already, if he's already, what's the word I'm looking for? So, apparently, Randolph's excellent, exquisite grasp of the English language has utterly failed him today. If he's okay, anyway, with the idea of losing it already, he's already come to terms with that idea, then given an opportunity, he may attempt to get it back. But I don't think he's going to be actively seeking it, because the way in which it was used this time was pretty much going to be non-returnable.
Yes,
I mean, the idea of causing the explosion and going in and collecting it
That-
doesn't seem likely.
Brings it to my query. If we cleaned it up, to anyone that would recognise such an item, would they assume it still had a spell in it?
Nope. Not if they were a sorcerer.
They'd be able to
But if
tell.
they weren't,
If they weren't a sorcerer, you'd be looking at bluff checks. But
Right.
And if they weren't a sorcerer, you'd first have to tell them that it was an item that could hold spells. before they-
Unless that person
depending on
already
what
knew.
circles they're in.
Yeah, I suppose if they already knew the blade, somebody who knows the blade
Yeah.
could be bluffed to think that there was a spell in it at the current time. Yeah. In the same way that you can point a gun at somebody and
Alexi,
bluff.
What
them
does
that
it
it's got
take?
bullets in.
to put a spell in that blade. Could you do it?
I couldn't.
that spell, probably not.
No.
A spell,
A spell.
easily.
A spell.
A spell that you can cast, you can presumably put into the dagger. That's
You can.
What the dagger's
This is
for.
one of the ways,
yeah.
and I have raised this several times, and since I've had no feedback, I'm forgetting. You can embed spells because spells take a long time to build up the power. You can embed spells, precast them to be triggered at a later date.
Does that mean they build in power the longer you have that item?
No.
No.
Instead
You
of
build the power when putting it into the item. I
Yeah.
assume.
Instead of standing there while someone's attempting to kick your door in and frantically trying to pull together all the appropriate threads of power, which might include you grabbing at inappropriate magics, which can of course cause harmonics and bad stuff.
Like
In-
the result of that spell.
In the quiet of your bedroom, you can sit there, spend 20 minutes picking out exactly the threads you need to put together the spell you want with no stress and no chance of
And
it going
create a spell
pear-shaped.
that is both safe because it's only got the threads you want in it, and also quick because you don't have to go through that process again. You just release it. So
So with
that would be
the
really useful.
with the ghosts and things that came from the explosion, does that mean I would have realised the spell that was in the knife was possibly hurried? Or just yanked together to put in?
Or possibly quite deliberately done.
If it was done under
if you
duress.
wanted to cause chaos, you could deliberately miscast a spell by picking the wrong threads. It's possible that that's what was done.
Well, I didn't know if it was a cause of the explosion or a cause of Ewan trying to defend himself and the two spells crossing.
I am inclined to think that maybe the enchantment that was put into the dagger was intended to make it look as if Mr. Davies had fudged a spell. I don't think we were ever
That would
supposed
make sense.
to was there, and that this was supposed to have been just written off as a terrible magical accident. Given which, perhaps he was intending to come back in and retrieve the dagger at a later date, on the assumption that it would be among Davies' possessions, waiting to be collected by his next of kin.
With
There
regards
is that,
to
yeah.
with regards to the broken window in Ewan's chambers, how large was? Oh, we can't tell because the whole window would have been blown out by the explosion, wasn't it?
It was. The whole window and the frame had gone.
But you did say that there was glass on the inside as well.
Yes.
How much?
If I broke a small pane with the intent of opening a latch, probably about that much. Most of it was on the grass outside, though.
Yeah. So we don't know if it. I mean,
Chances
presumably.
are he took the butt of a pistol wrapped in cotton, smacked it on the one pane, reached in, undid the latch, and he's in.
He's put way more thought into this than anyone not involved in a magical assassination should have done.
But also at the same time, Carter, that amount of glass is no bigger than a knife flying through a single pane.
Yes, there's the two possibilities. It could be that the window was broken because the knife was thrown through it.
Also
Or
true.
it could be that the window was broken at an earlier point in order to open it so that there would be an unobstructed passage for the knife when Davies arrived. What it comes down to is, when did Davies arrive? If he had just walked into the room, then it seems likely that the window had been opened in advance by Hawk, who was waiting for him.
Does it matter?
Not
Does it-
really.
does it make a
Except
difference to
that
how
it
we
gives us a
proceed?
little bit more understanding of Mr. Hawk, and I'm sure, Mr. Carter, that you will agree with me that the more we know about our nemesis or enemy, the stronger our position.
Of course, there is also the issue about if they were working together, then Mr. Davies would not necessarily have just cause to suspect Mr. Hawk being there.
Certainly, if the chap
That
who's
depends.
just been employing you turns up to make
That depends on whether it
payments.
was Hawk who made the arrangements. It's entirely possible that whoever was behind this contacted each of them independently, and that the two gentlemen never actually met until Hawk was sent to dispose of him.
Lurricane sighs and like leans against the curtained windows. There are so many threads here that we do not
Yeah.
know which to pull, or which are the relevant ones
indeed.
to pull as yet.
So many variables.
We could be speculating for the next
I
week.
apologise if I'm overcomplicating matters. I keep thinking about the way Aloysius does things, but of course Aloysius wasn't involved. I
Aloysius
keep
seems to be a
thinking of it as
pawn
something
here.
that he should be involved in, but he hadn't got involved yet. So I should stop thinking about how Aloysius does things.
So going back to Carter's question, do you want a spell in that?
Well, Carter's question was driving around that very thing. You see,
I think perhaps the better question is, do you want a spell in there?
well, my theory.
You are the only, Alexei, you are the only person here who can actually properly make use of this item. So unless we're going to hand it over to the police as evidence, then I suppose really it's yours.
Well, I
And
was
then-
thinking,
No, it's not
I was
technically
thinking we
true.
might give it back to our nemesis with a bit of a bonus.
That's providing we can find him,
He'll find us.
hopefully.
Lurricane was seen by him. We've got his magical blade. And
Okay.
you
The next
can
question is,
imbue a
what
spell
do
that
you
might
want
just
in it?
fry him to the ground with it.
Yeah, but would that not be defeating the object of wanting to know what's going on?
The man is dangerous.
Is it possible to create a spell that will entrap him in some way? Sort of a magical equivalent of a pair of manacles that could be triggered when he takes possession of the blade.
A magical bear trap. I like it. I like it.
I could possibly do something with my forces of nature and some roots of some form.
Hypothetically, stone would do it. It would be difficult, and it would be difficult to get one targeted on that specific person without, say, some kind of physical link
Yeah.
incorporated into the spell. Your good old voodoo doll principle.
Yeah. E.g. a little bag about 8 big full of cold steel. Or cold iron.
Yeah, if
It
you
was
had it.
previously in his possession.
Right. So, clip clop,
Much
clip
though
clop,
I'm in
clip
favour
clop.
of the whole tying into popular tropes and so forth. Can we avoid voodoo dolls? Because
I have no skills in that.
because the magic you're talking about is in fact not voodoo magic in any way, shape or form, and is in fact the European idea of a puppet, which
Yes.
is together. Because voodoo never used dolls.
Yes, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I was going with the.
And in a setting where voodoo probably exists.
Oh, it does,
Let's
yeah.
not propagate such ideas and piss off any who don't.
Yes. Yes, don't let me go off into voodoo versus voodoo. Because I am willing to draft in that entire lecture from Gabriel Knight, which is historically accurate.
Bockel turning up and giving us what for defaming his religion.
Fair enough. So, or her, what for? Yeah. But yes, witchcraft. Certainly, the English witchcraft edition would do it. The European witchcraft edition would do it.
And in a setting where witchcraft, European witchcraft, is real, I think we'd be more likely to know it from that source than from films that haven't been made yet.
There also sympathetic
welcome back.
magic is a tradition in numerous cultures. So it's all over the place. However, yes, the poppet. So yes, the small chocolate sweets can be used to cast spells.
Pellet grenades.
Yeah. Oh, he was shot repeatedly in the mouth. How can you tell? No worries. Caught them. Unk. Are you petting Pippin? Or
Yes.
twitching?
I am
Okay.
petting Pippin, who is of course camouflaged against this shirt.
I wondered what you were doing there. Okay. So, yes. And the cab pulls up at the Bluebird Cab Company. So, you can hop out at the depot. Long, low building, stables at one end, and numerous cabs coming and going. Gentlemen standing around smoking.
I assume there's an office building of some form.
There is indeed a door with office written on it.
Yeah, I'm going to make my way that way.
Okay.
Oh, right then.
He's got a bit between his teeth now.
Found it.
Excuse me, language. Sorry, Neo, could we have slightly less of the swearing on the... Okay. So, I really hate telling someone else's kids off. Oh, God. I'm turning into my mother. So, yeah, if I swear, that's one thing. It's my responsibility. So, coming at the door, are you all going? Because Alexei has just gone herring off towards the office.
I think the answer is going to be no. I think that given his general presentation, Randolph is sort of the opinion that these people might be less willing to talk to him. So he's going to just stay outside and loiter a little bit.
Now, where this is the main office, is there a stables and livery nearby, or is it just the central offices?
Basically, you've got a long, low building, single story, and the first 10 feet or so of the end of the building is sectioned off and has office on a separate door, and the rest of it is stalls and coach house.
Well, I'm going to head off towards the stalls, the coach house.
I will stick close to brain, work, name.
Okay, mage or Australian?
Alexei?
Carter.
That's
Carter.
Aussie. Follow the Aussie.
Jeez, brain, work.
Oh,
No,
don't worry
Lurricane
about
is,
it.
Lurricane is going to stay fairly close to Carter and keep him between him and any large groups of people.
Right, on the grounds that Carter's a bit scary. Right,
But
so
not as scary as the other guy.
while Randolph stands there looking posh, expecting the commoners to talk to other commoners.
You don't have to actually be able to beat Hawk, Carter. You just have to be able to slow him down long enough for Lurricane to leave. That's the.
It's the
I wasn't going to be so gauche as to say so.
Yes, it's the classic.
I
You
was
don't
thinking
have to be
Slow
faster
him
than the
down long
bear.
enough for Lurricane to get him from behind. Freaking over, you bastard.
Are you implying that the Fae would stab someone from behind? Actually,
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. It's far more
Threw
sensible.
cold iron at him. I'd stab him from behind for that.
Such tactics are obviously more the domain of the unseelie. However, for somebody who has demonstrated a sheer inability to deal with us well, I could be persuaded to make an exception.
By the way, I double checked, and I believe you guys have your health points noted down, don't you?
Uh-oh.
Yes, indeed. We
That's-
worked them out when I had the duel.
Mm-hmm.
Right, say duel. I have a whole 5,
Ah, no, I wasn't here for the duel episode, so I may not have.
so you may not have.
Yes. Insertion of cold iron into your person, Livercane, would do
Yes.
6 points of damage automatically.
Which, given that at least for the fight with the Graph, I had 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
you
missed.
would not
So,
be happy, would you?
so how does one calculate health points? Because I need to calculate those.
Fish, you've got the rules open, haven't you?
I haven't got that page open, but yes,
Okay.
I've got the rules open. Should be searchable, shouldn't it?
Yeah, they are. It's just who searches it first is all.
Okay.
Diddle-a-doo, boom.
We all watch countdown.
Okay.
Okay, what is
That
your...
wasn't the right page.
What's your courage?
Courage? Oh, shit. Courage is average.
And your physique?
Great.
Okay, so you've got 7.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah?
Ah, there it is. It's on the page 4.
Yeah, 188.
So yeah, I made the mistake of searching for health points.
Sorry,
Health
yes, my
points
apologies.
only appears once, and it's on the page after you actually calculate health.
And I am depriving you because you all took the heroine background. For the most part. I think half of you did anyway.
Mostly.
And I've removed one of your defences. Because if you're a heroine, you have the option to swoon.
Ah, yes, but no, that's definitely not a Quigley thing to do.
No.
Even a female Quigley wouldn't do that.
I don't think I worked out my health points, but I don't know what my courage roll.
I'm not a heroine. I'm flawed.
Fair enough. No, too easy. So, yeah, what, Alexi, did you say, what's Alexi's courage and physique?
I have no idea.
Okay, have you got your character open?
I've got strong suits, and it says courage, and
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually got anything for.
Chances are, if you haven't added anything to it, it'll probably be
Yeah,
average.
probably be average.
Average is 5, then.
Yeah, okay.
So actually, 7 health points is fairly good.
It's pretty good. 10 is the highest it goes to. And that's assuming that you have the next one up from excellent, which I can never remember. Which
Totally
is...
nothing to do with that at all, but can I just say, oh wow, I've just been looking at the set of maps that I have for the Iaba game Vern, which is again this kind of era.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an 1899 railway map of central London.
Wow.
Cool.
It's rather cool.
Cool. Fair
I mean,
enough.
I've actually got an 1859 map of London.
At some point, Fish, you need to point me at that. need to
I
borrow
did
that
point
off
you
you.
at the.
I think I've bought
the
them, yeah,
product
but I
on-
haven't downloaded them. I did
right.
buy them, but I haven't downloaded them yet. So since you've
I
downloaded
can,
them,
I can recommend to anybody playing this sort of game. By the way,
Bloody hell, Drat.
it's a bit Indie 500, wasn't it?
for anybody playing this sort of game, I can recommend that you check out the game Vern.
As in Shaw.
On Drive-Thru RPG and look for this map pack. I can't remember what it's actually called, but it's a quite cheap pack of PDFs of actual old maps. It's not maps that have been done now in the right style. They are actually old maps from various dates and various places covering Europe and the US, and there's Moscow and New York. All kinds of really good maps in there, not expensive and really useful for any game in this sort of era, not just for playing Vern or indeed Falkenstein.
Cool.
Right.
I will say that if I am fighting Hawk or anybody who is using Cold Iron, my health drops to 5
So
because I am
one
unable
shot.
because I am
one
unable
shot,
to use
yeah.
etherealness.
Yeah. You have
As-
to use your courage.
I would have to use courage and physique, which are both average.
Yes. Anyone would think Lyricane really not designed for hand-to-hand combat.
Let's see. Poor skills: sorcery, tinkering, physician, athletics, and fisticuffs.
Yes, he's a talker
Yes,
rather than anything
I'm
else.
not a fighter.
Oh
indeed.
dear. Why am I getting overloaded in coding? What in Satan's name's going on here? Okay.
Hello?
I'm just getting a few drop frames. I think my internet's having a turn. For anyone watching, I assume that this is going okay. But do let me know if it goes pear-shaped, okay? Because otherwise I'll have to start a local recording and splice
Just
stuff
quickly
together.
posting a link to those maps that I mentioned in
Thank you,
chat
Fish.
for anybody who is interested. It's a whole $3 for a
Wow.
set of 20 high-resolution maps from the Victorian era. So really useful for anybody playing this
Yeah.
sort of game.
Fish, did you say you were doing an offline recording?
I am indeed.
Oh, good. In that case, I will panic less then. I think it's just the heat and my internet do not work well.
And
Sorry.
In the interests of full disclosure, yes, that is my affiliate link at the end of the link that I've just put there. So, yes, I might get a few shekels if somebody buys it. Not a lot though on a $3 purchase.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So, that's the situation. So yeah, basically, anyone stabs you with cold iron, you're going down for the count.
Yes. Is there an unconsciousness or such mechanic here, or like would it be straight dead? Or...
Well, you sort of
Actually,
lurk at
death
death's
is
door.
quite difficult in this game.
Yeah. Dead is tricky.
It's really the system is geared towards you falling over rather than you dying.
Right. Okay.
Unless I
Don't
decided
remember
to
where it
employ the
was.
black spot rule,
Sure.
which I
Black
did
spot
consider.
rule?
So I'm likely to be collapsed rather than dissipated.
Yeah, but if you did die due to cold iron, that's dead is dead. As opposed to
Right.
dead
When
and
you've reached a
reincorporated.
negative health value through any of the above being the kind of wounds that can actually kill you, you must draw a single card from the fortune deck. If a spade of any value is drawn, you will have perished from your injuries, otherwise you are wounded but alive. Not sure if that's for all being that far down, because that's under unusual kinds of injuries, but it is geared very much towards you not necessarily falling down. When your health reaches a negative number, you're unconscious, not dead. It specifically says not dead.
Otherwise, to kill someone, you must first beat or wound them into unconsciousness, then make a point of saying you continue to harm them until they die. So basically, if you go down, somebody has to then specifically kill you. The black
You
spot
can't be
rule.
accidentally killed,
No.
basically.
The black spot rule is if you go into below zero health, then that's when the fortune deck comes into play. That's the very lethal way of
Right.
playing. That's an optional rule.
So basically, the black spot rule makes you draw for people trying to kill you rather than just drawing for environmental injuries,
Yes.
which is the way it works otherwise.
Yeah.
There's no if there is no mind behind the attack, then the card deck determines whether you die. If there is a mind behind the attack, then that mind determines whether they want to kill you. It's essentially how it works.
Yep. Basically.
Good, you understand that then, right? Excellent. More important, I understand that then.
Yes. So yeah, don't panic. As Shard Angel just said, spook. Okay. So, you're headed towards the stables. You're standing there looking posh. And Alexei is headed to the office. The famously verbose Alexei, who's really good at getting people to talk to him. Right, let's deal with him first. Okay, you can open the office door. There is a couple of chairs on which tired looking men are sitting. And there is a counter at the far end with a woman standing behind it and with a man in shirt sleeves who appears to be doing some filing. What you doing?
I'll approach the desk and greet the lady.
I apologise to anyone from London. Hello, how can I help you?
I have a bit of an inquiry.
That's what I'm
I
here
was
for.
in town earlier and I noticed one of your cabs with a rather striking horse.
Alright,
It was a piebald horse.
alright.
I just wondered if I could perhaps have a look, speak to the owner, see what the horse is like.
Well, we're the owners. You interested in buying it?
Hang on a second, sorry.
That's alright. Family first foremost.
There's a possibility. I just wanted to sort of speak to the cab driver and see how she handles and things like that.
The man steps forward, folds his arms. Exactly what is it you want to know, sir?
I thought I'd already explained that.
Yeah. That sounds a little bit on the extreme side. I mean, why would anybody want a broken down cab horse? Not that our horses aren't decent, but it is what it is.
It's the only piebald I'd seen in London.
You can go around with your eyes shut, sir.
No.
So, yeah, what is your interest in this? Because I don't believe it's horse flesh for a minute.
You don't believe it's horse flesh. That's one way to about your horses that aren't quite so dead, apparently.
That's the way that my mum and anyone I've met who's into horses talks about them.
I've never heard it phrased that way, but never mind.
It's a standard thing.
It's a usual terminology when dealing in buying and selling
Yeah.
horses rather than
Yeah.
just riding them.
I had no idea.
Yeah, horse traders tend to refer to horse flesh.
I used to read, what was his name? Dick Francis.
Yes, so did I.
Oh right.
I used to read Jill enjoys her ponies.
It's amazing how many times horses came into his book.
I used to be a librarian, and I used to shelve a lot of Dick Francis's books. So yes, from the cover that makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Although apparently they were all written by his wife.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
really?
was the Queen's. He
Yeah.
was Queen's jockey.
I
if
get-
recall.
I get the feeling that money would actually talk better.
Are you implying that some kind of financial contribution to the widows and orphans of London
Well, no,
cab
from
drivers?
from the way the woman said, "Are you looking at buying?" was her
Yeah.
first response. So, without saying any more, I'm actually going to go back to the door and shout for Quigley.
The walking purse. Right, okay.
What?
Right,
I can
okay.
help you with.
But I'm not going to shout him by name. I'm actually going to shout to him and call him sir.
Sneaky.
Right. I'll leave you summoning Quigley over, and we'll go to the stables.
Right.
Right. There are a couple of kids grooming horses. There are a few, obviously, waiting to go into the traces for cabs. And there's a couple of knackered-looking beasts, obviously recently off shift, who
Any
are...
of them piebald?
No, there's an awful lot of bays and a grey, but no piebald.
Okay. And you say there's a few kids grooming the horses and...
You've got your stable lads.
Cool. I shall head to the nearest one. Or no, I shall head to the eldest of them. Or eldest looking of them.
Yep, you can go for the tallest, certainly.
That'll do.
Okay. Oh, hello, stream going very weird there. Right. Oh, that's not going to help.
Yikes.
OBS showing some problems.
OBS is just making stuff up as it goes along. But
That's what it was doing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it made up the inability to show secure websites in its browser, for example.
Yeah, it's actually
It
Windows.
invented wholesale.
Yes, I mean, I realised that this is obviously something to make you faint. It had decided to set itself to 160 bitrate for audio instead of 96, which is where it normally lives, and 2500 bitrate for video output instead of 1800.
Wow.
So I didn't change that. No wonder it just had a turn.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it was juddering at that.
Sorry about
Although
that.
I wonder if that's because of your new rig. It thinks it's able to handle a bit more.
Yeah, I suspect under normal circumstances it is able to handle up there, but when it's hot in here, I'm inclined to say that no, it probably isn't. I think it's probably my computer is capable of it, but I'm not convinced my internet is. My router's quietly crying in the corner. Right. So, yes. And again, apologies to anyone who's ever met a child.
Oh boy.
Hello, Gov.
G'day.
You got a funny accent.
I'm from overseas.
Ah. Why are you
They might
speaking
have thought you were
French?
The other overseas. The land
Okay.
down under.
You're from hell.
He's from the upside down.
I
Some
chuckle.
folks have said that.
Yes, he's ignoring you. What do you want, sir?
I'm looking for a bit of information. There's a piebald horse that comes out of these stables. I'm looking for someone that has been in a carriage with that horse recently. I've got a few coins for someone that can put me in the right direction.
Piebald, you say? That's the
Yeah.
splotchy ones, isn't it?
Yeah, the funny looking splotchy ones.
Well, there's only one running out of this stable.
And
Well, his name's Apple.
Apple.
Buy it immediately. It'll be worth a fortune.
Yeah, but
So
it'd be a
named because it
nightmare.
likes apples?
No, apparently it looks like an apple that's gone rotten.
I can see that. Do you know who's been driving it or where it might have picked up a couple of passengers? Pair of twins. Look the same.
Well, I don't know about
Identical
anyone...
twins.
I haven't seen anybody like that here. People do sometimes come in and they'll take a cab from the office, but, normally it's on the street. But I do know who drives the cab, though.
Perfect. Who's that?
She says, just checking the name before she says it. That's Pete Boatman.
Know where I might find him when he's off duty?
Well, I don't have such a thing as a pocket watch.
You know,
Well, I don't need to know what time he's off duty, just where I might find him when he is off duty.
Well, he'll be coming back for his tea.
Back for his tea.
And we've got
Thank
to
you very
feed the
much, sir.
horse.
Sorry?
And we'll have to feed his horse.
And you have to feed his horse.
But, yeah, it's usually about 4 bells.
4 bells.
Hmm.
Thank you very much, son. I shall give some coin over to the kid. Handful of whatever the local UK currency is at the time. A few shillings.
Okay, this is going to be
Shillings
like...
would be a fortune for this guy.
This is like me trying to remember how to tip in euros.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of shillings. There we go.
Okay.
A couple of shillings is a lot.
It's a... Yeah. Contacts are contacts.
Couple of pence would be fine.
But he's giving a couple of shillings and you can't stop him because you're not there, so shut up, you're dead. Right.
But I'm reasonably certain Carter has a better understanding of the currency of this era than Knight does.
Yes.
Oh, don't spoil my fun. Right. The shorter one gives Lyricane the side eye quite seriously. And then starts giggling. But otherwise, the currency is accepted and vanishes into the little sprog's clothes.
I'm just stepping away for a minute or two.
If I notice the other one giving me the side eye, I just wink.
Mm-hmm.
He's dressed funny. Why is he dressed funny?
Okay, just to give you an idea, a milkwoman's wage was 9 shillings a week.
Yeah, this is why when Sherlock Holmes is doling out a shilling here and a shilling there, there's a Baker Street irregulars are fucking loyal.
Yeah.
They've probably had the best income on the road. Okay. So, you have a name.
I do indeed. Yes. Boatman. He's in
Ropeman.
the wrong job.
Yes, Ropeman.
Ropeman.
Oh,
sorry,
right.
I misheard you.
Yeah.
I heard it as boatman.
I heard it as boatman as well.
Yeah, I have it written down. It's Pete Ropeman. So, oh dear. Okay, let's flick through all the windows. What the hell?
For those interested, that's that link.
Thank you for that.
That's victorianera.org, victorian-era.org, which strikes me as a really useful website for people
Yeah.
playing these games.
I have been on that site a few times. Between that and the Welcome collection, it's extremely handy. So, back to
Bookmarking
the, I'd say back to the office. But unfortunately, Alexi's not here. So, what is the plan now that you know the guy's due back at some point?
Well,
Do we know
he's
Do we know roughly what the time is now?
You know exactly what the time is now. If any of you have a pocket watch,
Oh, yeah,
which I assume
I
some
would
of you
have.
have.
It just so happens that I do have a pocket watch,
Actually, I would have as well. So
specifically on my character sheet.
I assume
It's
quickly has come
my
over.
most
at
treasured
scale.
possession.
Yes.
This is where
Yes,
I find that I misheard.
Gandalf will
that-
come over when you call him, yes.
And in the doorway, so that people can actually see who I'm talking to, I will just simply say, "Gentleman doesn't seem very willing to talk to us about the piebald, sir.
Mhm.
Even though I mentioned that we were interested in possibly buying."
Okay, it's about 3:30, by the way.
sure.
Now, did I mishear that the boy said he'd be back at 4 bells?
Around 4 bells.
Right.
We've got approximately half an hour.
Are you sure about that?
Well, at least according, I show him my watch.
Right. So yes, as you are leaving the stable,
What appears to be the problem here, Alexei?
Well, I inquired as you asked about the piebald, sir, and I mentioned that we had possible interest in purchasing, but they didn't seem very willing to discuss any further with me.
Is that so? Who's in charge here?
That's me. And who am I talking to? It's a beefy-looking bloke with shirt sleeves rolled up above the elbow.
You are talking to your better, sir, so I would recommend that you perhaps do so in a slightly more polite manner. Now, my man here tells me that you are not being particularly forthcoming.
I'm just putting little one to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Let me attempt to clarify this situation for you. I am told that you have a piebald horse, which I am told bears a startling resemblance to the one that my sister had when she was young. Don't get me wrong, I am making no accusations here. I am simply attempting to locate this horse and ascertain whether this is in fact the case, because it might be a pleasant surprise for her birthday next month if I can find her a horse resembling the one she learned to ride on. You appear to be causing trouble with this matter. I don't know quite why. Is it or is it not possible for me to see the horse?
So, Fishy, how do you stand on verbal steamrollering?
Verbal steamrollering? I usually stand quite well on it, but how well Randolph does could be another matter.
Yes, so this is possibly
Let's
charisma.
see. It's certainly not social graces.
It's definitely not social graces.
I'm pretty much standing averagely on this, I feel.
Yeah, it's not really argument for performance. Unless you really are
Not
putting
that
on
that
a
would
show.
help me anyway. Connections is possibly the only one that I could try and argue, but even then...
No, it's
not.
going to be charisma. You're trying to overwhelm him with the sheer force of arrogance. Let's face it.
There isn't... I mean, if there were a leadership, there is a leadership skill. I could argue for leadership on that, but I still would be average on leadership anyway. Let me just double check. Both on hearts, it makes absolutely no difference.
Okay.
I'm going to argue for leadership in place of charisma, though it makes no mechanical difference because
Okay.
that's more what he's doing.
Okay.
Because it's that whole being in charge thing rather than
I'm your social superior, as it were.
Okay, I can get behind
So,
that.
under the circumstances, the best I can throw in is half a jack.
Ouch. Half a jack, half a jack, half a jack onwards.
Half a jack onwards, yes, into the valley of failure rode the fish. Well, actually, I mean,
Okay.
half a jack is still pretty good.
So that's 5, and you're on average, so that brings you to a 9. Which is actually on a little red line on the table, which is quite impressive. Because it's 8 or 10. So, the man stands back a little bit like you just smacked him in the face with a kipper. Feel free to draw another card, Fish.
I
So,
shall draw another card.
it's no call to be like that. I know it's not a stolen horse because we've got papers for all our horses. We've got papers, haven't we? Oh yeah. Yeah, we've got papers.
I believe we have already established that I am not accusing you of stealing the horse. I merely wish to see it.
He does that neck thing, you know, that whole squaring up. Well,
In that case, I shall slightly, but surreptitiously shift my grip on my cane. I don't like the look of this fella.
well, fact is, it's out at the moment.
You see now, how difficult was it to answer that? That was a perfectly reasonable response to a perfectly reasonable question. Thank you. I don't know quite why we had to go through all this rigmarole in order to get it. Do you know when the horse is expected back? Or can you put me in touch with the driver who usually...
Yeah, I'll call him his mobile.
Uber horses.
Yes, yes, Mabel.
I mean, presumably he will know the horse, its temperament and so forth rather better than you will.
Mabel, when's Apple due back in? She rifles through a list of papers and 4.
I shall pull out my silver pocket watch with the engraving. And
It's just gone
look
half
up it.
3.
I see. Well then, I think I'd have just enough time to perhaps get some tea, and I shall be back at 4. Thank you for your assistance. I shall rather ill-manneredly, but nevertheless quite generously, toss a shilling to the fellow. Literally toss. He's going to have to catch it.
He's going to catch it. He's going to give you a filthy look, but he's going to catch it.
And having said earlier about the a shilling is a fortune when it comes to sort of casual bribes, but Randolph doesn't know that. He
Right.
has no idea what the common classes earn.
Yes, you'd know probably what your household staff are paid, but that's not the common classes.
No, he doesn't know that. He doesn't personally have any staff. Mummy handles that.
So you do have a manservant, however, presumably for your London pied
Mummy
a
handles that as well.
Mummy handles your manservant. Okay.
Wow.
Pop your
Let's
manservant
not go
on the
there.
desk.
A little bit too much information.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
I
having a
prescribe
Blackadder.
a course of leeches. Just pop one under the tongue. Let it dissolve naturally.
Yes, having a Blackadder moment there. I do apologise. Clearly not enough coffee.
Now we
Okay.
need to go and find Bob.
I'm so glad I've already named the cabbie and it's not
So you're
Bob.
not a girl then?
But you don't know what the stable lads were called.
This is true, yes.
One of them may be a Bob. Right.
I shall head out, and then I shall look around to see if there is something in the vicinity of perhaps a tea shop or similar in the area, where I might be able to while away half an hour.
There is indeed a tea room which is stacked full of gentlemen of the working classes.
Yes. Doesn't look ideal.
It's being round the corner from a cab office.
Yes, I know. I'm in completely the wrong part of town to find somewhere suitable for Quigley.
What part of town are we actually in? Like, are we that far from... Actually, you said we were fairly, like, we're roughly equidistant between Majestic. So we're still in a relatively well-to-do...
Yeah, you are. It is, it's not a worst cafe on a good street. It's just a cafe that happens to be close and get a lot of its business from the cab
Is
company.
there...
Purely from the context of why we're here, I would imagine that this street is going to be primarily businesses, and thus the people here
Yeah.
are going to be the working types, which is not very much.
Yes.
With you saying it's round the corner from a cab house, is there no line of sight from that coffee shop to the cab house?
Specifically to the cab yard, no. You can see the entrance, but you can't see the
So if
actual
anyone was coming
yard.
in, we'd see them coming in.
You'd have to turf the people sitting in the window out, but yeah.
I somehow
No
think
tables
that...
outside we can sit at.
This is not a table cafe.
Yeah.
That sort of cafe culture hasn't reached here yet, I don't think.
It's
I
still
thought- I
over
thought-
in Europe, that one.
Yeah, I don't think Quigley would be entirely disapproving of turfing somebody out of their table, but he wouldn't be the one doing it himself.
This is true.
No. He has people for that. Primarily, he has Alexi and Carter.
Why is it Carter always gets the manhandling people's gigs?
It's kind of your job.
Because you're the one that's
Yeah.
well built.
Oh yeah.
He's the only one who looks like he can handle himself. Okay. So, yes, are you going to the tea shop? Or are you lurking outside? Because I'm
does it
assuming you
look
guys have
busy?
intercepted each other.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
having sort of-
I was actually waiting for other people to catch up with him and tell him
Yeah,
that
but-
they've found the same information by
Yeah.
different means, I must admit.
Mhm. Yes, you can intercept each other in the yard outside the office then. The Lyricape
So-
and Carter and Alexi and Quigley.
our man's going to be back about 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it's in around half an hour.
Coffee?
I considered there is a tea room over there. We could get something to drink while we wait.
Okay.
Seems good to
Hopefully
me.
they have better tea than the last place. Something with less ceiling in it would be good.
I ask if I'm able to do what would be a perception check?
You can ask. What are you looking for?
Anyone that might be watching us rather intently.
Oh, you're trying to
Like
determine.
every urchin in the street, for example.
There will be people watching us because we are out of place. We are a group of 4
Yeah, we
people
are
that no one
indeed.
recognises. But I'm looking more specifically the ones that don't want to be seen watching us.
You're looking for lurkers. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so what is your perception?
I believe it's average.
Of course it is. So that's a 4. And
What do I need?
it's on. Oh, well, that would be telling.
On
No, I
diamonds.
meant suit-wise.
Oh, right. Damn.
Diamonds.
Diamonds.
Okay. That's all I've got.
Okie dokie. So that's a 12, which is pretty gosh darned good. So, looking around, I'm assuming you're trying to be a little bit surreptitious,
Yeah.
rather than craning your head for anyone
Yeah.
who might be lurking behind barrels or something.
Yeah.
As if.
Yes. You're drawing a little bit of attention, not a huge amount, because they do have people coming in to get a cab, as the kid said, straight from the office.
Mm.
But not normally making so much of a fuss. And you were flashing money around. There doesn't appear to be that you can see anybody who appears to be paying you any special attention over and above that which you would expect.
No, that's cool. That's all I wanted to sort of clarify because it's the perfect
That
opportunity for
attention
someone
which is
to
our
have been.
due as awesome people.
I was just thinking, it was really carefully worded on my part, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, it was kind of more to make sure I didn't miss anything,
No,
if
no.
that makes sense.
You absolutely cannot see anybody watching you.
No, that's fine.
Yep, that was a gut response. Nobody's watching you as far as you are aware.
Seem
You
and
have
appear.
no reason to believe that there is anybody watching you.
Yeah.
Am I
See-
right in remembering that I didn't actually give the blade to anyone, so I still have
You still
the
have it.
magical blade that can have spells in it?
Yes.
Just checking.
I'm assuming well hidden.
I'm guessing tucked
course,
into your
yes.
inside pocket.
Yes. Now it doesn't need to be up my sleeve, which would be somewhat of an impairment to certain activities.
Yes.
But if
Although if
it's
I
in
put it
your
on the
inside
outside,
pocket,
it could act as a block to sharp things hitting
Yeah.
I was going to say, if it's in your pocket, don't go running anywhere in a hurry.
the...
Now you need to just rig up one of those spring-loaded things so that you can just fire it out of your coat.
Straight out of
is that a
Assassin's
magically
Creed.
enchanted dagger in your pocket? Mood.
Or you're just really upset to see me.
Right. So, yes, you can toddle off and usher away a couple of cabbies at their table and take up residence in the window. And end up with a tray of 4 cups of char. This is definitely... I like that emote. This is definitely builder's tea. This is the sort of tea that Britain was built on once they found it. You know, the sort of you stir it and the spoon stays
Yeah,
there.
I'll chug that.
Yep. Large bowl with a very few number of sugar lumps comes with. So,
I think perhaps a splash more milk.
right. Yes, you can milk your tea. And then
Well, why not? I normally do it to jokes. So.
Yeah. Well, we are going to be nursing it for half an hour.
yeah, it's about right. Yes, it comes from an urn. You're not quite sure how long the leaves have been steeping in there.
It's that one from Lamplight City, isn't it?
Not a million miles off, actually. Probably fewer flies. So, yes, you have, in their case, about 20 odd minutes. So, if you're going to have a chat, have a chat. Otherwise, I will spin on.
I don't think there's really anything that we want to say in this kind of establishment.
No.
And
There
there's
are lots
nothing
of
really
years.
new that we've found out.
Yeah.
We've only found out that we might be able to find out something, rather than
Okay.
actually having found out something.
You have got the name of the cabbie, but only 2 of you have that.
I don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Shall
Yeah,
we
in casual
exchange the
discussion, I
information
will
we have?
pass across to the chap's name that we're looking for, but
Mhm.
Okay.
The horse is called Apple.
because it looks like a rotten apple.
No, is that why?
Yes. So the stable boy said.
That kind of explains why they're surprised we'd like to buy it.
Yes, that doesn't really put my cover story into a very good light, does it?
Right. After 20 odd minutes, you see a cab coming into the yard.
That's sad.
Pulled
The fact that I
by.
don't have a sister doesn't put my cover story into a good light.
I doubt anyone. I doubt anyone is going to be running away and looking you up in Twerp's Peerage at this point.
Yes. Yes, we've got the who's who out, and we're now
Yeah.
dubious as to your
Hang
story.
on a minute.
Yes.
I'm not very good with my history.
Yeah.
I assume phones are not a thing yet.
No, telegraph is.
Telegraph.
Telegraph. Yeah.
Which takes time.
Yes. You can wire to things.
Well, I just heard a nasty thought. If they now say they've phoned someone to say someone's been looking, I'm going to be really annoyed.
Definitely
Will it
cab
be-
phones are not a thing.
No, that's what I want to check. I weren't sure on my history.
Over-
So.
Over distance, they might possibly cable somebody. Over in the local area, they might pay an urchin to deliver a message.
Yeah, messengers are a thing.
Which is partly why I did the
Send a
perception
cable
check
boy
as I
round,
came
that
out
kind
to
of
see if
thing.
anyone was out of the ordinary.
You could, yes, you
Good
could
shout.
cable from a post office. So you could telegram from a post office. And post offices equally would retain a certain number of lads who would be used to send local messages. And that's in addition to sending letters. And bear in mind, of course, also the post in this era, you're literally looking at next morning post locally. Within London, you're looking at either the next morning or, if you send it early enough in the day, the evening for delivery. That was actually the bit of Sherlock Holmes that was the least realistic to me. People were sending letters and getting a reply the next morning, and it was just, how did this?
How does that work? Yeah.
What witchcraft is this? So, spinning on. So, what are you guys doing? The cab has returned.
Well, then we will go and have a word with the cabbie, I suppose.
Pete Ropeman.
Now, how are we going to approach this? Because we used 2 different tactics last time, and they don't really gel very well. And we just need to have a word with this cabbie fellow. Who's going to speak to him, and how are we doing it?
Well, I think honest is probably our best bet, so I'm quite happy to.
Right, excellent. Yes,
Right then.
I
Okay.
will leave it in your capable Antipodean hands.
Are you all going over together then? Please tell me.
I'll head
We'll
over in that
intimidate the
direction,
guy
but
to
I'll
give us some
hang-
answers by
but
going
I'll
on
hang
max.
back a bit.
I was going to
Again,
hang by
I'm
the
still-
entrance.
I'm still working on the principle that having a posh bloke standing there might make him less comfortable than he would otherwise be.
Yeah, I'm going to
Slightly
hang
early.
by the entrance to the yard and sort of survey,
Okay.
just in case there's anyone that sort of crops up.
Right. Okay. As you enter the yard.
I will stick. I will stick with Carter.
Okay.
I'll stick with
But-
Alexi.
I will tweak my glamour to make myself look a bit dowdier than even just turning off the sparkle.
Ooh, that's tricky.
I say.
That's talking about going against the grain there.
I am spooked after the encounter with Mr. Hawk.
Yeah.
Also, to more fit in with the area.
Makes sense. I mean, this was the first serious threat Lurricane's encountered.
Indeed. Probably in a number of years.
Yeah. I have a bad feeling about this. Okay. So yes, the horse is being uncoupled from its traces by the taller stable lad, and a man has climbed down from the cab and has opened up a small lockable box and is counting out money from inside it and noting down totals. He's leaning on the seat.
So that I don't make him jump immediately by introducing myself right at the point that I'm stood over him, thus giving him the impression I might be there to nick his money.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm approaching, I shall wave a friendly wave. Pete Ropeman, hi!
The man jerks upright. He's a tallish man with long curly blonde hair, which is pulled back into a long plait, and a cabman's hat perched on top. As he turns, you see an unmistakable cant to the eyes, which indicates to Lurricane, at least, that if not actually a Fae, he's got rather more in his ancestry more recently than most people. He's a rough-looking cove, hair aside, but his voice is surprisingly lyrical. What can I do for you, sir?
I'll be honest, I'm looking for two of your passengers you took earlier today. Pair of dwarves. You can't miss them. They look the same.
If
I've got a
someone's
couple of shillings in it for you, if you can tell me where I can find them.
if someone's inside my cab, they're entitled to the protection I grant them. Why
They're
would
not
I
inside
want
your cab
to?
now.
No, but if such people were my passengers, why would I want to expose them to people like you?
Is there any suggestion that he recognises Carter?
Make me a perception check.
Well, that ain't going to go well. I have no red cards.
However, given that I'm leading the conversation, I will also be looking to see if he does recognise me.
So
I
I
do
am going to... I have a perception of... I've got no way...
Is it hearts or diamonds I need? Hang on.
Perception.
You were asking for perception, weren't you?
You
Yeah.
did me diamonds, so...
Yeah.
Diamonds, yeah.
So I am going to throw out 2 ones and give myself an 8.
Okay.
I am going to throw a 5 of diamonds, and I'm going to get 2 more points with the 5 of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, can I do that? Shit, can I do that? Is my...
What have you got?
I've got good perception. Can I put 2 cards down for good?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I throw
And
out
if it
2.
isn't, that's what I've been playing anyway, so meh.
Right.
Variation on
So-
the variation.
So that gives me 13.
Okay. He does give Carter a slight quizzical glance, not full on suspicion, but it looks like the wheels are going in the back of his head, which Carter can pick up on. Lurricane,
No.
there might be something. He may be recognising him, but it's certainly not full blown recognition. Let's recall everything on the table.
I need to find a thing from... This is going to sound crazy. There is a mad assassin. He's just not long ago killed some magical earth guy. I don't know the word. Elsewhere in London. I think he's trying to track these guys down too. Now I want to get there and try and save them from this mad assassin. Guy's name's Benjamin Hawke. Can't miss him. He's like, this guy's like 6 foot tall, blonde, blue eyes. Sounds like he's come from a posh area of the country.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Wouldn't do. If you'd seen him coming, he'd have probably killed you too. I'm trying to save your 2 dwarfs.
Right, I would like you to make me a charisma check, please.
Yeah. About that.
I have good charisma.
Yes.
So do I, but I have not got any of the cards for the checks that are being asked for.
Which is really weird because
I have average charisma, which is 4 points.
Yep, that's average.
Then I'm going to have to play this and pray it's enough.
What are you doing?
Ace of Hearts.
So that would give you what, an 8?
And
Yeah.
Ace is... No, charisma's on Hearts, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is.
That's
Oh,
So
Ace.
so
yes,
it's
that
a four.
actually.
So that's... Ace is 13? 14?
15.
I thought it was 15.
15.
Hang on.
It's 15, I believe.
15, yeah. Jack,
Okay.
10, Jack, Queen,
That gives me
King,
19.
14.
14. 18 then.
10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace.
Oh, that's right. It's Jokers that are 15.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you're not mucking around, basically. Your earnestness really comes through. And yes, Fish, you're pretty much right. Fairy laws of hospitality applying into his cab. As I said, some things are in the blood. So,
Just so long as those things aren't cold iron.
there is that.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm playing on the looking after the guys in his cab. Be completely honest. Tell him the whole shit and caboodle.
Okay. He looks startled and then relaxes a little as your earnestness washes over him. And he looks between the two of you. You think they're in danger.
Absolutely. A guy they've been working with has already disappeared. Someone linked to it has just been killed. I think they're next.
Right. Well,
Having had an encounter with the gentleman in question myself, I do corroborate this story.
huh.
And actually, I kind of impart at this. I impart a little bit more. I actually turn up the sparkle a little bit to.
Okay. Right. Becky. Right. He looks at you and his eyebrows go all the way up.
I wink.
Right. Well, they've been good customers. So I'd hate to see them hurt on that part, and plus they seem to be nice kids. Right. Well, yeah, I don't think they're very old. Hard to tell, isn't it? Short. So, I can just tell you where I've been picking them up.
It's good enough for me. I can work from that.
Yeah, a couple of times I've collected them. I think they like my horse.
You're a pretty horse. I like your horse.
Well, not mine, but, maybe one day I can buy him off her. So, and he literally pulls an apple out of his coat pocket and carries on talking to you without looking, offering the apple to the horse, who chows down appreciatively. This is a guy who knows what he's doing around animals.
At least well enough not to lose fingers.
Well enough not to lose fingers without looking at the horse. Says the person who got bitten by a horse when she was a kid because she didn't listen to her mum saying, keep your hand flat. Yeah, I was doing that. Conk.
Ah!
No blood, there was no real force behind it. It was only a pony, but I was 6.
And presumably terrified.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about the situation, I will say that. Right. So. That's one of my notes. Yeah, look, there's a place in Docklands. I don't know whether they're working there or living there or what. But he gives you an address on
Did you
St.
say
Catherine's.
Docklands?
Yeah, Docklands. On St. Catherine's Dock. St. Catherine's Wharf, sorry.
Some cats. Okay. Much obliged. Thank you.
Right. So, What's all this about?
Is that where you drop them off?
That's where we picked him up
It
from.
is. That's where I pick them up, and I've dropped them off a couple of times
Drop him
now.
off too.
Yeah,
Good to know.
dropped them off last night. Some swank do they went to.
Swank do at the museum?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Thought as much. That's where their well-to-do friend they've been working with vanished.
No. Well, yeah, I hope they're okay.
So do I.
So do we.
So, what are you doing? What's the plan, guys? It's just gone 4. You have
I'm
an
going to shake his
address.
hand and make our leave, I think.
Like, again, trying to be relatively earnest with him.
Hmm.
Are they there now, do you know?
They were there as of half an hour ago. That's
Thank
as
you.
much as I'm willing to say.
Thank you very much. Have you given him any money at this point?
Well, I was going to ask you a question. What's our quickest way there?
You're asking the cabbie?
I'm asking Lyrican at the moment. What's our
Alright.
quickest way there? Because if we're going to have to rush to save him, we might need Mr. Ropeman's assistance here. At which point I'd be happy to pay more than I was going to for his information.
I suspect we need Mr. Ropeman would be the best person in of the three of us to tell us that.
How
Then I give him a charming smile as well.
He addresses you with a wry grin. Well, I do know some decent shortcuts. The knowledge is a thing. Always has been, always will be. Mess not with London cabbies. They know the best way to charge you the most possible.
Better than my knowledge of that area of London at any rate.
Well, technically, I'm due
I'm
my
not
meal
strict.
break.
Oh, I could say I would say you could look at my screen, but it's only on the. I've just brought up the map of that area of London from
Also,
1859.
Show
my
off.
knowledge of St Catherine's Wharf is modern day, and it is not likely to be as swanky as it is now.
No.
I imagine.
Mostly very, very tall
Yes.
now. Yes. No, this is. No, it's all right. I have plans.
There are a couple of good pubs there. Well, pubs and restaurants.
Yes, I'd prefer not to have to take out a second mortgage. Admit. Right.
Shard.
Yes. Okay. I told you I had plans. They're not actually relevant for sorting out floor plans or anything, but I'd like to give you an idea of the sort of thing you're looking at.
In this point, is St Catherine's Wharf more shipbuilding?
Yes.
Right, so it's
It's-
dry dock, that kind of...
You've got dry dock and you've also got warehousing, essentially. I have bunged up on Roll20 an era-appropriate selection of images.
Right, okay.
And the first person to go into the EastEnders music is going to get clonked.
Just be glad I'm not sat at the drum kit.
Yes.
Because I've got the right sounds for that.
Yeah, God, yes, of course. Don't put it
When he
past you.
gave us the address for Docklands, like roughly whereabouts are we talking? Like the point of the Isle of Dogs, or are we actually talking like near one of like the West India Docks or something like that? i.e. city side.
You are talking at the point. It is a warehouse, and it is in the more isolated
Sure.
end of things. This is where I have to be really careful because my knowledge of London comes from Google. And basically working things out from there. I'm getting pinged. Yes. So. Don't please God, don't panic too much about geography.
No. I was just that map is just really interesting because of the stations.
Yeah. Again, that I think was Welcome Collection again.
Mm.
They got some really interesting stuff on this, like incredibly useful for this sort of thing. Since I decided that apparently going for atmospherics was apparently the way to go.
Because I'm
But-
reckoning those are trams. Like
Yeah.
those would be tram stops stations, wouldn't they?
They would.
Yes. Okay.
They would indeedy.
Because it's like my memory trying to desperately work out. It's like the tube did not extend that far
No.
east at this point.
And we're a wee bit before the DLR.
Oh, okay. Actually, are we before tube?
I don't think we are. Right? Oh, hang on.
Something I could not tell you without looking it up.
Yes.
It's got to be said.
What year did he say we were? 1840. 18.
We're in the
What are-
1850s.
We're in the 1850s. I think we are probably a bit
I
early
think
for
we are
tube.
a bit early for the tube.
Yeah,
1860.
1860, yeah.
And I don't mind having that Google search come up on the stream because that's actually quite useful for
That's-
people.
That's cool then, because that means that map I've got is actually 1859 is a pretty close. It's much
Yeah.
closer to there than it is to
Yeah.
the dates assumed for Verne campaign.
What I've done is I have tweaked the creation and the discovery of a few things back and
Yeah, yeah.
forwards.
So we're
Slightly.
probably at the earliest stages of the technology coming into place. So they might be starting to work on the Bakerloo line, basically.
Yeah. Yes, you've got an awful lot of Irish dwarves pitching up.
But even then, like the line only really went from King's Cross through Farringdon to.
I'm trying to remember where it
Oh.
ended up.
It wasn't very far. Like it was just that one line going west to not quite Hammersmith, but a bit further north. And this is where my knowledge of that part of London isn't very.
Yeah.
So that one line going west would be the district line, wouldn't it?
No, so it was
No.
like it's the northern bit of. It was called the Bakerloo line at the time. So it's running and following much where the Bakerloo line follows now. So it goes along Great Portland Street, Baker Street, and such.
Yep.
Possibly ending at Marylebone. That's it, I think.
Remember, that was it.
Marylebone of Paddington is where it would have
Yes.
terminated.
And the first person to call Mornington Crescent.
Alas, Northern Line would not be built for some time.
Not for quite a while. And then they kept the same tubes, the same coaches, carriages even, ever since, judging by the standards of the Northern Line.
Yeah. That, dear fans, has been your London transport
Yes!
history.
Yes.
If you,
Yes,
if you want to know more.
yes, any non-Brits who've never been, or indeed people who've never been to London, yeah, that's the sort of thing we're looking at here. Okay, so yes, you can indeed, I assume, take Ropeman's cab to the warehouse.
That makes
I-
Is
sense.
that your plan?
Oh, certainly on the way from discussing these guys, I will flag for Quigley and Alexei to come over.
We shall come over then.
Okie dokie. Right, I'm going to take a 30-second comfort break.
Sure, I'm
and,
going to drop off for a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
exactly.
and you guys can determine
It's a good place
what
to
your
take a break.
approach is going to be.
By
In
cab.
that case, nature calls first.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. One of you's got to stay on camera, but I'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, I think Fishy or I might head off when someone else comes back. Oh, we're starting to pick up a pace of trying to get things done now.
Yeah.
Now that we've got leads that might have a life expectancy.
Let's say once again, any questions from chat? There never are, but we ask anyway.
Or even suggestions, things we might have missed.
Yes.
Help us,
We've done something
please
utterly
help us.
stupid. Tell us.
Awkward silence while we wait for things to be said in chat.
Indeed. That awkward silence that gets.
See, now I can catch up with chat. I like the idea, Shard Angel, that a well-oiled beard should give at least 10 minutes of breathable air underwater. Whilst it's not fully unleashed, this is indeed well oiled. Also fairly well compressed and braided.
What's the deal with the horse? It's a horse. It's a very convenient equine creature without which somebody would have to pull this cab. Not sure quite, other than that, what you mean by what's the deal with the horse.
The main thing with the
but not
horse
back.
being that as a piebald horse, there apparently aren't many of them in the
yes, it
area,
was-
so it became a unique way of identifying the right cab. Speak to the right cabbie to get the information we needed.
Yeah, it was identifiable was the main deal with the horse. Approach everything as a heist.
Everything. That's, you know what, Shard Angel? That's actually not a... So we're going to heist the dwarves. How are we going to do this?
Well,
If only we had someone that was good at extractions.
the argument can be made that every good heist is actually approached as if it were a military operation. So in theory, really, we're just approaching this as if it were a military operation.
Yep. I'll go with that.
In which case, shall we make a pincer movement?
What are we doing?
Just being very silly, really, for the moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
largely
okay.
being silly.
Yeah.
Sell them snake oil.
Do we
Oh,
have
that-
any snake? I don't think we have any snake oil, unfortunately. It's probably there's a bit of
Sorry about that.
So you should be.
Hello.
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 Right, now we have a GM back. I'm going
do?
to
Yes.
Well, I'm going to do a
I
disappearing act myself.
I shall do the same.
Mekidor,
Actually
what is the deal with the
find all
horse? How do you mean, what's the deal with the horse?
Pretty much covered that. I
Oh,
think,
okay.
unless he meant something different. But really, the deal with the horse was that just simply that it was quite recognisable, and we were able to use it to track down the cabbie and thus speak to him about the dwarves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I'm now going deaf for a couple of minutes.
Mwahaha, and the power is mine. I can
She
now
says.
trash talk my... Oh, never mind. That's the way it's working. Okay.
Sorry.
That's alright. Just thought I might... There.
Did you say this one we're heading to is just a warehouse? There's no dry dock attached to it or anything like that?
There are dry docks in the vicinity.
But not at this particular...
Not at this specific one, no.
Okay.
But it is reasonably near the waterfront.
Yeah.
Let's actually be helpful to the people watching the stream, because of course I've been describing this horse and give people an idea of what it looks like. There you go. Hence quite recognisable. That's actually an American paint horse, but that's basically the same thing. In English, that's piebald. Hence, it looks like a mouldy apple.
Oh, I see what you mean about the brownness.
It's the brown, it's brown and white mould. If you think of that on an apple, then
Ugh,
you're
yeah.
not a million miles off, to be honest. Oh, we've all done the picking up something we didn't realise was an apple. Particularly traumatic Christmas when I got the fruit and then 2 months later discovered it in the toe of the stocking when I was about 8.
Oh.
Yeah. What's this? Squidge. Oops. It could be a Trojan horse. Right.
Does that kind of spotting come in black and white as well?
Yes.
Or Okay.
Yeah.
So so Frisian almost looking.
Yep, you can get them in brown and white or black and white. Piebald is the generic term. Skewbald is if they've got black and brown and white, which is just cheating, frankly. Oh,
There's a skew ball down near my mum's.
yeah, they are gorgeous.
Interesting name, Shard Angel.
Yeah, that's strange. It could have been worse. Could have called it fungus. So we're on the 50-50. Possibly an ask.
I'm here. I'm just.
Okay, so what are you thinking in terms of how to approach this warehouse?
Well, funnily enough, Fishy and I were discussing that, and from what, as a point of from where Shard Angel's comment came from, Shard Angel said to approach every operation like it's a heist. And then Fishy countered with, but every heist should be approached like it's a military operation.
So this is a war game crossed with Dust City Outlaws now.
Yes.
Apparently so, yes.
Yes.
So we're getting dropped off at the corner of the street. We're taking a corner of the building each and going in on 3. Yeah.
Actually,
You guys have seen how Rainbow Six Siege gets played, right?
yeah.
You're going to send the drones in first, find out where everyone is. Then we're going to storm in and get
We're a
killed by
bit
some
earlier
golden
than
machine.
that,
I thought the plan for Rainbow Six Siege was generally you scout out, you check where all the entrances are, and then somebody goes select all, attack.
Yeah, basically.
I'm now really intrigued to see how you guys would all do on Dust City Outlaws.
Hey, I'm willing to find out, mate. I am absolutely willing to find out. Right. You don't make comments like that.
Yeah, I probably will have to try and run it for you guys
Yeah.
at some point.
As far as I'm concerned, more power to your elbow, dear.
I've got
Right.
a huge list of things I want to run though.
Oh, God. Yeah, there's a reason we ended up going to the rotation on the ground so that
Yeah.
we could all get to run something from our
Yeah.
pile. And then we're still going to have to take extra sessions now and then.
Yeah.
Okay. As evidenced by Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, even. Okay.
That did seem fun. I like that.
I really am liking the Ayla. I think she's got great potential, and she clearly
have
takes
returned.
absolutely no crap from anyone.
Welcome back.
Hello, Fishy. Hello,
I will
muted
unmute
Fishy.
my camera in a moment when I finish eating this sandwich.
I don't know. You start with ice cream. You're on a sandwich now. Anyone would think you've been working
Yep.
all day and didn't have time to get dinner.
No, I had dinner. It's just I've also had a couple of large gins and I'm now peckish.
So, we could always go with the honest approach.
You could. That's an option.
That said, they didn't seem to take too kindly to Mr. Carter's initials in treaty earlier.
Then again, I did kind of surprise them. They possibly weren't expecting me to jump on the door of their cab.
I think
They were.
think
following
honesty
us,
is possibly the best policy in this situation. It seems likely that our diminutive, hopeful new friends may well be seeking Chekhov themselves. So they might have information we don't. If we pool our resources, perhaps between us, we could find them.
I do believe that they are probably the least antagonistic of the parties we have encountered so far.
And I do
Indeed.
genuinely believe that they're in danger.
Mm-hmm.
They could well be.
Right. So yes, you are looking at a warehouse door. You're looking at the big double doors suitable for bringing in carts, ouch, and cargo, with the inset smaller door for people. And on the second on the upper floor, sticking out, you've got winch pulley. Back and pulley with the rope dangling down and secured neatly with a cleat by the side of the doors.
Is
Now,
it
the
standing
question
one?
that does have to be asked is do we think that these gentlemen are going to answer the door, or if they see us coming, are they going to try and nip out the back? It's all well and good saying we'll be honest with them, but we need to be allowed to talk to them first.
Fair.
Do you want me to go round and see if there are other exits?
We could split our forces, 2 at the front, 2 at the back.
See, I did say it was going to be a pincer movement, didn't I? Everyone else was
What
away.
happens if there's 3 doors?
It's an awkward pincer. Double-handed pincer.
With that in mind, can we
Ah.
see any other doors from where we are?
No, this is part of a row of warehouses.
Oh, so it's a long way round the back either.
It's going to be a bit of a hike to get around the back if there is rear access.
Yes, if it were a modern warehouse, I would say
what's
there's
it made of?
definitely a back door, but I don't know about
Brick.
Victorian ones.
And
So, typical cobble.
there are windows, Shard Angel, I will say, because the others haven't asked. But yes, there are windows, mostly reasonably small, and about 10 feet up. They're level with the top of the door.
How tall is this warehouse in total?
Residentially, you'd say 3 or 4 stories.
And
you're looking at-
skylight?
Not that you can see from here.
Let me scout. I will go ethereal
Mm-hmm.
and zoom up.
Okay. Right.
I basically,
Does that.
I'm going to then basically stick to the edge of the warehouse and basically reconnoitre it as fast as
Okay.
I can, peering through windows.
Okay. Inside, you can see very little. The windows appear to be deliberately covered.
Yeah,
They're either curtained or they've been painted. It's hard to tell from out here.
these are the lower ones.
These are the lower ones. They're about 10 feet up.
Yeah. I zoom up to the roof and have a look if there's any skylights.
There are indeed. There are 2 large skylights. Neither of them look desperately accessible, unless you feel like going up and going all the way along all the roofs.
Yeah.
But the roof is a chalet style, so it only slopes in one direction. It's not pitched.
Right. Can I see anything through those windows?
You can see the glow of flame.
Okay.
Please tell me that's just
as-
a flame framed in a nice ornamental fireplace, and
I'm
not the
assuming it's
entire
more like
damn building is
still
a
work.
light.
As in, it looks to be like contained, like a contained fire source, or
It's red. It looks red. It looks contained. It could well be coals.
yeah, okay.
Bit like a furnace.
Difficult to tell
Big
whether
dwarven
it's
forge.
fireplace or forge. Cool.
Because if so, then it's quite cool, but their terrain is way too expensive.
Does it look like I can see directly down to the warehouse floor? That there aren't like intervening floors?
No, there is no intervening floor between the roof and the ground.
Aerial walkways?
Squinting sideways, you can see there does appear to be a catwalk running around the outside.
Okay. At what, the first story level or the second story level?
Second story.
Okay.
And you can see chains depending from the ceiling.
Sure. And then I like switch over to the rear of the building and see if there are any. There is
a rear access. It's a larger door again. That one is heavily bolted and padlocked. It leads to a very small yard.
Oh, okay. So it's padlocked on the outside, small yard, and then I'm presuming is padlocked on the inside. Okay. I return to the others. From a general viewpoint, if they do intend to escape out the back, it'd be very difficult. There are padlocked doors, padlocked from the outside, leading to a small yard. They are not getting out that way quickly.
What are these? I will ask if the yard gates were locked.
Padlocked from the inside.
That's a very weird way to be locked.
I was thinking that as well. So, given that if they were inclined to escape, I would think that there might be something underground.
Dwarves.
I don't like sewers.
Dwarf sort of thing underground, isn't it?
Tunnels or so.
So they say.
How close to the edge of the wharf are we? Or is the building?
This is also something that I can
20
determine.
feet?
Give me a moment.
So
Um,
there may be some sort of chthonic transportation mechanism
Uh,
for them.
Luricane at this point goes insubstantial again, and this time sinks into the ground.
Okay.
I want to scout underneath the warehouse to see if there's any tunnel access or such, trapdoors, etc., that they might have as a escape
Right.
route.
He actually has. He actually
Jesus.
has a slightly tricky time.
Sorry,
Because-
could you repeat that?
Sorry, he actually has a slightly tricky time
Yeah, I suspected as much.
because there are metal water pipes.
Yeah,
Uh,
that I have to squeeze around.
you have to squeeze around. They are
let me
not
just-
lead; they are made of iron.
Oh, they are iron, are they?
Yes.
Okay, so I will avoid them as much as possible
Mhm.
until it becomes to the point. I'm guessing that the piping is not such that I can't detour.
No, you can work your way round it. It's just slightly awkward.
Yeah.
And from what you can feel along, because you're basically moving through the equivalent of fog of war.
Yeah.
As you encounter it, it looks like this is the common water supply for probably the entire row of warehouses.
Sure. Do I come across any like subterranean parts to the warehouse?
You encounter a sewer running along underneath, again, the entire row of the warehouses.
Okay.
It's
Is there sewer? Is there sewer access to the warehouse that is dwarf accessible?
Are you travelling along inside the sewer tunnel?
I am going to.
Is your best bet to find out?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, at what point,
Oh,
Becky,
actually,
am
like,
I
I'm
letting
gonna-
him off?
I'm going to. Yeah, I'm basically going to stick to the wall. It'll be that weird thing. It's like my body is going through the wall, but like my head is poking out slightly.
Doom with no clip turned on.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Scooching around the occasional iron ladder,
Yeah.
which does lead up, but trying to sync it up with where you know the actual warehouse is, you find a ladder leading to an iron manhole cover, which, if you're in the right place and your detours didn't take you off too far to the side, you think that would lead up into the warehouse. There are also water pipes, well, let's put it this way, waste pipes leading
Yeah.
into the sewer from above.
And given their nature, I'm assuming that dwarf aren't like other fairy and they can handle iron without a problem.
The rumour is that's what dwarves gave up their magic for, their fey
Right.
abilities for, was the ability to work iron.
Do I know if dwarves are harmed by cold iron in the same way that the other fae are?
As far as I know, dwarves can handle cold iron.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So I return to the others. Doesn't appear to be any subterranean tunnels other than sewer access, of which, if my calculations are correct, there is. However, and I shrug, iron. So they probably could escape via the sewers, but I don't think it would be, again, super quick.
Right.
So does iron interfere with Fae the way cold iron does as well?
Iron buggers up fey powers. So, for example, you can't phase through it unless you have an
So it's a bit
extremely
like
level high
Superman's
level.
X-ray and lead.
Yeah, pretty much. Just to give you, because Luricane would know this, Dwarves are unaffected by sorcery and affected by cold iron, iron and steel no more or less than any other mortal.
Right. Okay.
Dwarves gave up their fairy immortality and fey abilities in order to be able to work
Intriguing.
iron. And unaffected by sorcery.
Would we still
Yeah.
count? Would we still count them as Fae, or just as very, very distant cousins?
They are fairy because when dwarves want to have babies, they do so with female fairy.
Yes, they do, don't
Mhm.
And then the boys are dwarves and the girls are whatever the mother was.
Mhm.
Which apparently leads to lots and lots of family reunion parties on a regular
only imagine.
basis.
I assume we see no lock on the front door.
There is a normal key lock on the front door. Quite a
I
heavy
meant
one.
more in the padlock sense. And
There's
like
no padlock on the front door. There is a padlock on the
Can
cargo
we-
door because there's a pad bolt,
yeah.
But-
How close to the water are we?
about 20 feet.
Right. Okay.
Head to my
Can
submarine
we
comments.
hear anything going on inside the warehouse? Because I'm assuming whatever's burning in there is causing quite a racket. Or if there's manufacturing of some form going on, it'd be making a...
Make me a
Bracket.
perception check. If anyone's got any listen enhancements, that would apply.
Nope. I don't even have the cards for a perception check.
Okay, I will. Let me see what I've got. That is.
If they're trying to be, if we're listening for someone that we think might be trying to be stealthy, can I use my stealth for a listen check? Presumably
can.
using the perception suit with my stealth skill.
I'll
Yeah.
throw that out. I'll throw that out there for a perception of 12.
Okay.
Actually, no, I might need that. Actually, no, I can throw that as well. So make that a 13.
Okay. You
Well,
can
I'm
certainly listen for the stealthy
going to try and
traces
perceive-
of someone behind a door.
Ooh,
I'm going to
nice.
fail to perceive because I want to get rid of this lousy 2.
Now, perception is done on diamonds.
Yep.
Okay, so if I'm using my stealth skill with a
Mhm.
red card, I will add 5.
Can
Because I'm
I
gonna halve
quickly
that.
ask,
You can
Right.
ask.
what do athletics and climbing require card-wise?
They would be
think
black of some sort.
but
I'm assuming they're black, I just don't know
Athletics
which.
is clubs.
Yeah.
And the climbing would come under the same?
Climbing,
The
running,
green-
swimming, throwing
yeah.
weapons. Running, jumping,
Well,
climbing trees.
Now,
Because apparently I'm good at athletics and I've got a specialisation in climbing.
nice.
Yeah.
Now, as my stealth is
You're great at climbing.
better
Yeah,
than
I'm
good,
possibly going to try
I
and
can
use
throw
that in a
a
minute.
second card in, which means I can add 6 to my 8, giving 14.
Right. I can tell those of you who made it, which is basically everyone except Fish, that you can definitively say you cannot hear any sounds. Unfortunately, the sound of the general wharf and work, Fish, has fooled Sir Randolph.
In fairness, I can definitively say that I cannot hear any relevant sounds. I simply cannot definitively say that there are no relevant sounds to hear.
Whereas the others can confirm that there are indeed no relevant sounds to hear, as opposed to merely indulging in doubt as to whether there are relevant sounds to hear, because you cannot hear any relevant sounds.
I don't do
When-
doubt quickly.
Point.
Just to clarify, when you said about the walkway inside,
hmm
does that encompass about the height of the windows?
No, it was one
No.
story. It was.
Or is that
It's
above
about
that?
10 to 15 feet above that,
Yeah.
and then probably so that's 3. So at least then another 20 foot to the ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm
Onto
going
the
to
roof,
turn
yeah.
to the gentleman. Shall we knock?
Our best bet at this point, I believe.
Yes.
I think so.
I'll go and knock.
What's the lock on the front door look like? Is it a sort of typical big...
Key lock.
It's
Key
a key lock.
Excellent.
hmm
And I'll knock on the door, but I'm going to do it rather loudly.
Okay.
Because obviously, background noise and such.
Yeah, not loud enough to
got a staff you can knock.
If I were you, I'd lock Ladan
I
to
haven't.
the
So I
dead.
haven't actually picked that up yet.
Oh, you didn't bring it with you.
No.
No, you should have let me knock. I've got a cane.
Okay. Bam, 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 bam. The door singularly fails to be opened by anybody inside.
At the same time, I'll try the actual handle.
The door
Or is
is
it
open.
just a case of sliding them?
No, the man-sized door opens normally and has a handle.
Okay.
The cargo door opens double doors.
Slide. No.
And they do actually
And
open
you say the
inwards.
little doors open.
What are the
Yeah.
doors made of?
Wood.
Is the building itself wood?
The building
or
itself is
She
brick.
said.
brick? Right, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brick with
So
tiled roof.
I will turn and just say, well, the door's open.
Well, we should probably at least announce ourselves.
Yes.
We don't want to be too rude about this.
But be quick. Let's move.
Wow.
I think we've been beaten here.
Who's... Am I first through?
I don't know, are you?
If he's hesitating,
I'm
then no, he's not,
assuming-
because I'm going to...
Right, okay. Well, I'm assuming because I'm at the door, I'm first one stepping through.
So, Carter and Alexei first into the room.
Oh, yes.
What is Falkenstein for? Lol, surprise.
As I enter, I am going to kind of shout in a reasonable loud, hello, anybody home?
So,
In a noble tone of voice, or a la the Joker.
hello, warriors, come out to play.
I was thinking more. Hello.
Is there anybody out there? Hello. Oh, great. So far we're going between the Warriors and the Joker and Alice Cooper.
Hey, to be honest, I was going more Pink Floyd. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the draft in David Warner as Steel. That creeped me out. Right.
Anybody hear me?
What
Can you?
do we see as we enter?
Right. Do any of you have visual specialities to your perception?
Nope.
No, I haven't. I
have
just
no
As the
speciality to
person who
perception,
doesn't even
just-
have perception.
I just have a good perception.
Okay. So none of you are really fast at having your eyes adjusted.
No, like as they step through the door, like I actually again just go ethereal and put my head through the wall.
That's cheating. I love it. Hurricane's a hazard to himself and others. It's great. So, you step inside.
Well, he said it wasn't made of metal, so
Yeah. The place is dark. Not dark as in shut up, but dark as in just very few light sources. Ahead, as your eyes adjust to the gloom, you can see there is indeed a large forge set up, in front of which there is an anvil and assorted, quite heavy looking machinery, and tables with racks of different kind of tools, all kept in immaculate order. You can see built out of the walls temporary partitions which would accommodate perhaps offices, and limited amounts of light are coming in from both the windows, which in here you can see are covered with a thick sooty tar, and the skylights, which again are slightly smoky but not as bad.
Is the forge the only source of fire in the room?
No. There are
Is there anything closer to us?
closer to you, no, but there are a couple of lanterns set up, hanging on the hooks from the wall either side of the forge. The whole atmosphere is quite smoky.
Yeah.
It's not the most pleasant place to be. And I believe Lurricane needs to make me a perception check.
Uh-oh.
So screw it. Voila, 16.
Okay. So that's in meters. And you're looking at that.
What meter is it in? I've always liked pentameter. So
Okay.
No, pentameter is so gauche to Lurricane. He prefers things in either classical Greek octameter or...
oh well.
Oh, well, there's always one, isn't there? I don't know. Right. As Lurricane, I assume, is entering behind.
Well, as I say, I'm not
Or are you just sticking your head
entering per
through?
se. I'm just popping my head in because they're going through the door. I just pop my head in alongside them to see what
Yeah.
I can.
Lurricane actually feels a degree of resistance on the brickwork. Not hugely. But
More the presence of metal, but not necessarily ferrous metal.
it's more than you might expect from Brick, because he has been basically buzzing around quite happily. But yes, you have basically offices set up along a couple of points in this large square area. Looking up, you do indeed have a walkway running all the way round and a flight of metal stairs leading up to it. And otherwise, yeah, you're looking at ironworking and metalworking equipment.
I assume we can't see anyone up on the walkway.
My 16 doesn't give me any more visual information than that.
Your 16 gives you the... he doesn't have low light vision as a Fae, does he?
That
to
I'm
remember.
not sure about. Let me just double check. Did I write anything
Let me just check
down?
one. I think they have slightly better than human, but I don't think it's the full-blown.
If I do, I didn't write that down, but I
Right.
don't think. I mean, I probably have slightly better, but not, actual.
Yeah. Okay, going through bogies.
Don't shout that in the middle of a park, you get looked at.
Fetches. Oh yeah, I forgot giants count as Fae.
There's giants?
Yeah.
I didn't know there were giants.
We ain't met a dragon yet.
I believe
Yeah.
there are probably quite a lot of Irish giants. So.
Yeah, there are. Giants can wrap themselves
cool,
with
Jack.
fear, as if 50 feet of muscular flesh using a spruce tree as a club is not terrifying enough.
And actually, English folklore would also count for Morians.
Yeah.
As,
Yeah. Don't mess. So,
no.
no, 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 no.
I mean,
Right.
at least we haven't got Merrow, but
Yikes. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, there's a whole heap of fairies that are not available as PCs, let's put it that way. Banshee.
What?
run away.
Sounds
Right.
like fun.
Yeah.
Please let's not be looking at a banshee.
Yeah.
Oh no, I used my auditory glamour to
Looking
change
at
their
a
voice
banshee
into
is
haunting
fine.
song.
Dracula, Unseelie Lord. Right. Okay.
They can shard angel, but they take time.
Right. What you can see is your eyes adapting a little faster. Is you can see stacks of coke next to the forge
Right.
with shovels in. 2 shovels. And you can also see it's almost sort of minecart. It's wheeled boxes, wheeled crates which have something in, but you're not sure what.
Right. Okay. But no signs of movement or persons.
No signs of persons that you can see
Yeah.
or hear.
That you can see. That's the terrifying bit right there.
No blood
Well,
on
I'm
the
more
floor
intrigued
either.
now as to what's in this minecart now she said that we can see.
Okay. So yeah, that's just. There's nothing for me to draw attention to at this point. So.
No,
While
not at
this
the
is
moment.
going on, I'm slowly moving towards the forge.
Okay.
I'm looking for one of the other exits out of here, and I'll be heading towards that because there's no clearly the people we're looking for aren't in this room. So
Okay.
let's move on.
As they step away from the door, I shall step into it.
I step through the wall then as quickly
Okay.
steps into the room.
As soon as you step into the room, you start feeling headachy.
Me specifically.
Yes.
Right.
I am.
The back of your neck instantly tightens and your temples start to ache. You really don't feel well at all. You're really not keen about being in here.
Am I able to tell whether or not this is due to something other than just... What I'm suspecting are large concentrations of iron because there are lots of tools and such around. Can I tell whether it's just sheer concentration of iron or something else?
Right. This kind of headache
Mhm.
does not come from iron.
Right.
This kind of headache comes from the
from cold iron.
proximity of cold iron. However, that it's merely annoying and irritating implies that if there is any in here, it's not very much.
Or it's not near me.
Or it's not near you.
I just pipe up. I might be hanging back a little bit on this, gentlemen. And there is an uncomfortable tremor to Lyricane's voice.
Yeah.
Something we ought to know.
To progress any further into the warehouse, Lyricane's going to need a courage check.
Yeah, I'm going to stay where I am for the moment.
Okay. You're all right inside the door, but it's just
Yeah.
as you come in, it's ahead of you. Your skin starts tingling. You get that itch, the same as you had by the painting.
Can I inquire something?
You can.
Now he's actually inside, is this going to cause him a problem if he has to leave in a hurry?
No, door's there.
Just well, I'm not thinking of the door because he didn't come through the door.
Yeah, but the door's open next to him.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine. I didn't know how far away from the door he'd come in.
No, I'm not moving far. I'm basically 2 or 3 steps inside the doorway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fairness about the door does have a minor nobleman in it.
Yeah.
You're a miner as well as a nobleman?
No, that would be handy actually if you were.
We dig.
What he is
homophones.
doing is calling out as he steps inside. So whenever you're ready for that.
Okay, so yes, we've dealt with Lyricane having a bit of a turn.
Yeah.
So, Fishy.
Hello. The door was open. Is there someone I can talk to?
Right. I would like you to make me a perception check, please.
All of us?
Perception check.
Yeah?
A
Okay.
check of perceptionality. Let me see. Do I want to
Perception of
make a
diamonds, isn't
perception
it?
check?
Yeah. I get 15.
I got nothing.
Diamonds, let's see. Perception.
What do we think, chat? Do I want to absolutely storm this perception check or fail it utterly? Because those are my only two options.
Passing in any which way you say you can probably is going to help. So,
Seems
like
like,
my Queen of Diamonds gives me.
Well, to be honest, even if I absolutely storm it, you're already getting as good a result as I can get because you've got a better base than me. I've only got the 4.
Yeah, but the more of us that pass, the less of us that are going to get hit by it. or the more of us that have a chance of dodging whatever's coming our way.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get hit by anything if I fail
So-
this. So I'm just going to go.
I've got
with,
18.
I'm just going to have 5.
Okay.
And everyone else just crosses their fingers.
Right.
Oh, for God's sake! Drat, did you stack this deck? There are red cards in it. Yes.
Yes, I have them all.
Hang on. I've
Oh,
just hit
that's where they
I'm
are.
shuffling the deck, so future draws.
I have had 1 red card all day. Even my Joker is the black one.
Have you not seen how many reds I've been playing so far this
Yeah,
evening?
they've
I
all
have
gone dim.
all the red cards.
I want the reds.
I shuffled before I dealt. I promise.
I've had 3 red cards.
Yeah,
I'm-
it's
I'm-
just you,
I'm-
fish.
I generally prefer the black cards.
Yes, they hate you.
I'll swap hands
No,
with.
I want like. Actually, I need a full spread really for my ability. So,
Yeah, yours are all over the place.
I
yeah.
think everybody really needs a full spread to be on the safe side.
Yes. Right.
Today I'm all physical. I can't do anything remotely.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if I'm talking, I really need the red ones, which
Yeah.
this session is probably the more of.
Yeah. Let's get physical. Sorry. Right. So, those of you who stormed the perception check, then.
Have fun storming the
Shall I
perception
mute
check.
now so I don't hear anything?
In
So
the-
that's Carter and me.
Yes. The room echoes to the sound of Randolph's voice. And in the dying echoes, you hear a simple click.
Is that the sort of click that might be the action on a firearm? Or some other kind of
It
click?
is metal on metal.
And can I pin the direction?
Suddenly I'm thinking that Randolph needs a revolver.
It appears to be coming from the far side of the warehouse. Possibly from the office. Well, I'm deeming it office space because in a normal warehouse that's what it would be. From the office spaces opposite the door.
I assume as I've approached the furnace is between me and that.
The furnace actually stands along the wall that would divide it from the next warehouse along.
But the noise from the furnace would probably drown out anything I've got there.
Yeah, there is a crackling, undergoing crackling. The coke is it's not burning. It's doing that whole. You could probably
Smouldering.
do the barbecue on it now without completely atomizing your steak.
Sir Randolph, move.
Take cover. And I shall
Actually,
be
Sir
diving
Randolph
to
Duck.
cover, which will give me A, cover from that line of sight, but also B, give me something that I can peek out and possibly shoot back with.
Okay.
Randolph will sleep sideways.
I have got a gun, haven't I? I'm sure.
Lyricane
Yes, I have
zooms.
got a gun, because I asked for a very special gun.
Lyricane
didn't I?
heads upwards.
Right. Okay. Lyrican actually feels a hell of a lot better once he gets about
Yeah,
15
I did
feet
wonder.
up. Sorry, 25 feet up. Once he's around
Yeah, I'm-
second story level.
I'm basically going to be level with the walkway.
Oh yeah, you feel fine up here.
Yeah, my aim was basically to to zoom up and vault onto the
Yes, you can indeed. You
Okay.
can make it up to there. From this perspective, looking down, you realise that the offices, they're not closed topped.
Yeah.
They are merely dividing walls.
Sure.
I mean, they're 10-foot high dividing walls, but they're dividing walls. They don't have a roof.
Mhm.
And looking down, you see movement. It's faint
Okay.
because it's
In the
dark
office, or in the direction of the office.
in the
Okay.
office space.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, the next thing I'm going to do is basically going to be running along the. Presumably, the gangway has railings. So I'm basically just going to run along the railings.
Okay.
Still ethereal, but
Uh huh.
it looks nifty.
Okay.
To like so where I can get a better viewpoint. of
Right,
the-
so Luricane's doing his turrican thing. It's a pixel wide, I can stand on it.
Indeed.
Yes.
Not doing the arms outstretched behind me.
Oh,
This is not Luricane
Sailor
is not
Moon.
Naruto.
Naruto comes Sailor Moon.
Damn shame. I was hoping we'd get Luricane in a very sort of anime-esque pose.
Yes. Luricane needs a proper cloak.
This is actually probably more akin to like choreographed tap dancing along the along the railing.
It's that bloody advert for the beer, isn't it? The silly 1950s
I assume I
dances.
heard Carter tell
Yeah,
people to take cover.
yeah. But you didn't
I
take the trick.
assume there is room for me to sort of duck behind the forge.
Not behind the forge because it
Or
is up against the
beside
wall,
the
but
forge.
beside it, yeah. The heat is quite impressive here.
Yeah, I kind of want to use that.
Yeah, okay. So if anyone was using heat vision, certainly you would be invisible at this point.
No,
Let's put it
I
this way.
kind of want to.
Oh god,
yeah.
he's going to burn the warehouse
Yep.
down.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Why make
Uh,
your own fire when you can just manipulate somebody else's? Much
Okay.
easier.
Absolutely.
What are the office walls made of? Just wooden dividers.
Yes, they are indeed wooden dividers.
Are there the same windows on the back?
Yes.
So
We're
if I
about
was
to,
to put something through one of those windows,
Mm.
would that shine light into make
It would improve the
easier to
amount of
see?
light. It would improve the amount of light in the room, yeah.
Is Carter close enough for me to, not loudly, but kind of suggest it to him in a low enough tone that he'd hear me about his thoughts about putting something through the windows?
I didn't specify that I was going a long way away, so potentially, yeah.
What is around me that I can grab?
Okay, there are, as I said, there
Isn't
are piles of coke.
metal.
Okay, there's piles of coke. On
I
the
have a line from Eric
tables
the
near
Viking
you.
going through my head.
Sorry?
I have a line from Eric the Viking going through my head. I'm
Uh-huh.
just remembering. Well, thanks for saving me from a fate worse than death.
With
Yeah.
regards to tools, are they all metal tools or metal headed?
They are all metal tools in DD. There are no
They are no
wooden
good.
handles that you would expect normal metalworking tools to have. Because if you're a dwarf, you don't give a monkeys about burning your hands.
What about pallets?
The coke is on a pallet.
So there's no empty pallets.
There are no empty pallets, no. In
I'm not
the
shoveling coke.
crate on wheels, if you have a scooch around, there is basically clinker and the remnants of worked metal.
I was about to say, what the hell's clinker?
Metal off cuts and
Yeah.
off
Oh,
shards.
right, okay. That's.
Perfect for what you're looking
I
for.
don't. It is, but I don't really want to use metal with Luricane running towards where I'm going to be throwing stuff.
There is that.
Meanwhile, having stepped sideways so that he's not silhouetted in a doorway, which is as far as Randolph's moving went,
Okay.
he is going to call out, "Hello!" again.
Okay.
And probably going to get shot.
Just enlighten me as to what coke actually is.
Coke
Is it like coal?
yeah, it's basically you burn wood at a very low temperature, or very high temperature, sorry, but with limited oxygen,
Okay.
and eventually
a
it comes out like coal.
Charcoal
It's-
type thing.
And
Yeah.
it is a more efficient fuel.
That
Yeah.
means it's rather
So
light.
Basically, it
It is.
requires a bit of
So you can't even throw that.
work to make it, but it's
Yeah, they are
not
briquette.
Mm.
Your best
I've
bet
got
if you want
nothing on
something
me.
relatively heftable to throw through a window, it's one of the tools.
Yeah, a hammer would
Yeah.
do the job.
How good's your aim, Carter?
After our first evening in the museum, you have to
Exactly.
ask.
Yes, I do.
Also,
because it's heavy.
for
A lot heavier than a
Alexi's,
cane.
for Alexi's purposes, I'm above the level of the window, so unless you were deliberately aiming at the skylights.
Mm.
My aim's pretty good.
Yeah, hell
How
of a
far I
go.
can throw, it's
You-
a different thing.
He's been
And it's going to be a case of
deciding-
the skylight or the window, which is going to give us more light.
You've been heading round while he's debating this and trying to look at his environment.
Mhm.
Do you want to break it or do you want to physically put a hammer through it?
Livercane, you have managed to make it round to the walkway above the offices.
Mm-hmm.
Look, is there anybody actually here? Yeah.
Still, there's no verbal response, but Livercane, now looking straight down, can see a figure crouched inside the office door.
Mm-hmm.
And quite clearly, ear up against the door.
So the office door is closed.
It is.
Okay. Can I tell what the nature of this figure? Does it look like a dwarf, or does it look like a
It's-
human crouching?
Foreshortening is a problem, but you're guessing it's a dwarf from the build.
Right.
But you are looking sort of straight
Any
down.
way
so
he
it's
can
kind of,
give us a
Sure.
sign?
Yeah. I step down onto. Yeah, like I step down onto the walkway
Mhm.
and look over.
Yep.
We didn't get their names, did we?
No, nobody has actually asked for
Yeah.
the dwarves' names.
I then basically just lean over, lean on the rails and look over, and I say, we just want to talk, like gentlemen.
Is
And
the
I'm
response.
calling out in a loud, I'm pitching my voice loud enough for the others to hear me, even in Lyricane's drawl.
Okay. You all hear the shocked intake of breath. And then a frightened looking dwarf looks straight up at you. Don't kill me!
We mean you no harm whatsoever. We just want to talk.
He looks around frantically.
I believe that we could be of use to each other. As one fey to another, please believe me.
Right. I would like a charisma check, please.
Yeah, I thought you might ask for that.
Yeah, but any
yeah.
auditory enhancements you want to put in with glamour, I will take a glamour check for that.
Okay, so 2 checks you're suggesting.
Yeah. They're immune to sorcery, they ain't immune to fey glamour.
Yeah. So my glamour is... they're both hearts. I only have 1 heart.
Life's a bitch.
I only have 1 red card.
Or you could just
I-
give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just... I mean, this is really poor. So, what's my charisma? My charisma is good, isn't it? Yes. So,
Yeah, I mean, you're not starting too far off anyway.
yeah, I mean, that's the problem, though. Because my only red card is a 3 of hearts. So that's 9...
Okay.
10? Let's make it at least 10.
Okay. And you're doing just hoping for reds.
Yeah. Let's draw 2.
Right.
Jeez, this session really wants me to be physical.
Okay.
Having heard Lyricane's voice,
Mhm.
can I move closer?
You can,
But
as I
still
said.
in
they-
the shadows.
Yeah, all of you will have heard.
Likewise, I'm now moving up to the direction of the gas.
Yeah.
So there is a kind of pleading note to Lyricane's voice rather than like necessarily the calm collectedness.
You're-
Because he does also consider this as a situation to go really badly wrong.
You're not here to kill me.
No, certainly not. We are just trying to find out what on earth is going on.
You're sure? You have.
I don't believe that we are antagonistic to one another in our interests. My friends and I just want to talk.
If I come out, I've your word that I'll be not harmed by you. His English is excellent,
Oh
but
yeah.
there is a strong Germanic sense to the grammar. We're in the we want you the formula to London bring.
I switched to German. And go. Do I get the inkling that he and the other one are brothers, or?
I mean, you did see them. They were very, very similar in appearance, if not identical.
Right.
Certainly, they were exactly the same height.
I give you my word that neither you nor your brother will be harmed by me in this encounter, and I will advocate very strongly for my friends to do the same.
If I've your word,
You
that's
have
good
my
enough.
word. You have my word as to my actions in this situation.
I suppose that's the best I can hope for. He answers you in native German.
Yeah. Give me a few moments, and I will go and talk to my companion. So
I'm
Good.
getting slightly bored over here, you know.
I flip down to actually, I'm not going to flip down to ground level because the cold iron is there.
No.
I am going to go back to a point roughly equidistant in the air above above all three of them, and just call down. One of the gentlemen we wish to speak to is here. I have given him my word that I will not harm him in this, him or his fellow, in this encounter. I would strongly suggest that you do not do the same. That you do the same as well. Let us hear him out and
Do you
see
give
what
it
we
the
can
same
do
promise?
for each other.
He has the same promise from us, but
Has
I
he
have a
given the
question.
promise? It's overall
He is
if we don't
scared.
hurt him.
He is
Really?
scared. He is requesting that we do not kill him.
Then
He believes that we are here to harm him. I am doing my best to try and persuade him otherwise.
let me first make an apology to him. If you can hear me, I'm sorry if I scared you on the carriage earlier. You were following us, you spooked us, I wanted to find out who you were. Now I know who you are, we want to help.
Where
I
is the
really
other one?
humbly
What
apologise.
happened to him?
Sorry, Fish?
Where is the other one? What happened to him?
I zoom forward to the office then. Basically, it's like, let us start this again on better footing. And I introduce myself formally as Margrave Lyricane. I am Margrave Lyricane, Margraf Freyung of the Bavarian Diplomatic Corps.
In this country, my name is Afford, which he says with a distinctly Welsh accent, purely for that word.
Is that
Randolph is
AFED?
stepping.
AFORD. Afford.
Randolph is stepping back into the doorway, but this time facing outwards.
I assume the dwarf can hear us through the wall.
The door is actually now cracked open, and
Before he opens it any further, my first comment to him: are we your first visitors?
we've been
Today.
expecting trouble, and the door opens fully. There is a young, you've seen them before in Best Bib and Tucker. He is young. To Lyricane's eyes, who's rather better equipped to deal with Fae, you know you're dealing with no more than maybe 20, 22
Right.
tops. Which, for a professional person, that this is a dwarf
Yeah.
with one name. We've been expecting trouble, and I knew it was only a matter of time. I heard you enter, so I hid.
Can we ask where your companion is? Is he your brother?
He is my brother. Oven he's gone to get supplies. We ran out of food.
Ran out of food?
You'll forgive me if I
Yes.
do not come lower, but there is cold iron somewhere
He-
nearby.
He looks mortified to be honest. Yes, one moment. Apologies for my discourtesy. His English is, as I said, excellent, but very formal.
Understandable.
He nervously approaches the workbench and boxes something up that you can't see. Takes it to the far corner by the forge, basically as far away from you as physically possible. And Lyricane instantly feels a lot better.
Thank you, Master Arthur.
We used nearly all of it, but yes.
Is there somewhere that we can sit and be comfortable?
Yes, we have the room fitted up. We're not savages. He opens another of the office doors, and there is a small sitting room inside.
I then look at him. Is the front door lockable, barricadable?
It can be locked, yes. I didn't lock it. I didn't want Arvin to have difficulty getting back in.
Very well. Mr. Carter,
Yeah.
I beckon everyone, please let us be civilized about this and have a proper discussion, and gesture to folk through into the office, or into the room that he is suggesting. Mr. Carter, I would suggest you probably keep an eye on the front door in case of further trouble.
I shall step back in and close the door, and then examine the door from the inside to see, besides its actual lock, if there's any way it can be secured.
There is a bar. It's designed to hold, obviously, a wooden bar, which is standing actually on the inside of the wall next to it. But it also has a pad bolt top and bottom.
Sir Randolph, our gentleman's brother is out at the moment.
Yes, I heard.
I'll keep an eye on the door,
Under
no
the
worries.
circumstances, I shall take the bar and lean it up against the door, so that if the door is opened, the bar will be knocked over, hopefully quite loudly.
No, a cunning plan. Afford opens up the door fully to the sitting room, and basically wanders in and lights a couple of lanterns. It's a reasonably well appointed, very small, I mean not much bigger than 10 by 10 sitting room, with obviously no ceiling because it goes straight up, and there are a couple of softish chairs, nothing expensive, a small table, and a cupboard with bottles sat on it.
How many
And
chairs are there?
There are 3 chairs.
Okay.
Pardon me. And there are also a pair of plates with cutlery sitting next to a small sink.
I'm presuming Carter is going to stand.
Stand probably a fair distance from you, so that A, I can see the door, but B, if something unpleasant comes through the door, it's going to see me and go for me, not you guys.
Sure. So are you going to be in the room with us then?
I'll be outside the room so that I can see the door.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But still within earshot of what's going on in the room, so I'll sort of turn around
Yeah.
and pitch in if I need to.
As he enters the room, Randolph will politely greet Master Afford, was it?
Afford, yes.
In Welsh.
Brother, is his response. And again, he seems to be fluent in Welsh.
Cool.
I'm sorry to your friend, addressing Carter. We didn't know who you were. We were trying to find out who you were. And you were going to the place that one of the bad men were from. So we didn't know who you were, and then you you jumped in, and I'm
I
sorry.
wouldn't worry too much about that bad man. If I
No
were you.
worries.
We think another bad man has rather taken care of him already. That's
Yes.
why we came here.
Ah,
We had the same thought that you might have had, that you could be in danger.
this was foolishness. This was foolishness from the
Do
beginning.
you know where your brother went shopping?
There's a small marketplace, sells meat, and bread.
I wonder if perhaps a couple of us should go and
Agreed.
make sure
And-
he gets back.
Well, I was thinking maybe a couple of us should go make sure he gets back. The rest of you should go somewhere not here and safe. Because
I
if we
have
can
to
find
stay
you
here.
here, if we can find you here, so can the bear.
If the man is as bad as I think he is, he will find us anywhere. I need to stay here because if he comes back, this is where Chekhov will come.
Ah,
You honestly believe that Mr. Chekhov will be here? Look, we are just trying to find to get the bottom of this mystery. What do you know about Chekhov's disappearance? And forgive my bluntness, sir.
An important question, but perhaps I think one to be asked after we've assured the safety of his brother.
Unless we are
Yeah,
going to,
please.
Master Alpha doesn't appear willing to leave at this point. Mr. Carter, I suggest, is probably the best suited person to go and recover Master Arfan, if anyone else
Right.
wishes to accompany him, because I do not
I
suggest
do not
that he
think
goes
any
alone.
of us moving around alone is a good idea at this point.
No. Pairs at least.
I don't wish to put anyone else in danger. I'm sure
So-
Arvin will be here soon.
Alexei, would you care to accompany Mr. Carter, or shall I go?
I can. I'm just
Someone that knows
thinking
London better
if
than I do would be best.
someone's
Oops.
coming here, there needs to be some form of defensive capabilities as well as.
It probably makes more sense for Master Alexei to remain here.
Very well. I
At
shall
that
accompany
point,
Mr. Carter then.
I will ask the dwarf if there are any 6 foot long, about 2 inches thick, like iron bars laying around,
No.
or something of similar nature.
6 foot. Well, I could do you a couple of feet. He seems to switch into professional mode.
Just
I
hope for the sun-
could make some.
I've got some 2-foot bars,
Yeah.
but
I could make some. Otherwise, you're looking at the handle of a shovel.
How long is that?
Couple of feet.
Out of interest, as soon as we ascertained that it was going to be Randolph who was going, he started moving towards the front
Okay.
door.
Look,
Directions to this store? Which way?
out, turn right, to the end of the row, and there is a place where the workmen for the warehouses buy their meat and their bread.
And it'll be there.
Yes.
How long ago did your brother depart?
He pulls out a pocket watch, perhaps half an hour ago.
how long would you expect him to take?
It depends. He likes to talk to people, but he should be cautious.
Yes, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Me
No.
neither.
He might be haggling. He does enjoy haggling.
Off I go.
Right, so you two headed off.
Hopefully Carter is following. But
Absolutely. I was just going to say I'm following him. He seems to know where he's going. He knows London.
Yes, he doesn't know this bit of London, but yeah, it's good enough.
No. He's following
Better
the
than I.
directions he's
Yeah.
been given.
Master Alexei, can I rely on you to provide safety whilst I talk to Master Arford?
I am going to try. At that point, the walkway that Luricane was running along earlier,
Yep.
the railings, what are they?
Oh, they
are
would
they
be.
sectional?
Yes, they plug into sockets every 6
Could I-
feet or so.
Could I take one of them off?
Yeah, you can head up the stairs and do a bit of an exploratory bit of destruction.
Um,
I wouldn't even
hefty
go up the
kicks.
stairs. I'd take one off the stairs if it's long enough.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, the banister rail, the railings on the side of the stairs, probably about 5 feet.
That'd do the job.
I also suggest, Master Alexei, you might wish to also check or ready the sewer entrance in case we need to make a quicker getaway.
The sewers?
So I will ask.
If that is the only other way, I did have a quick look around before we ventured in. We're not getting out the back door very quickly.
No, we secured that.
Indeed. Wise precaution, but it does mean that should someone...
You secured that.
Mm.
How?
With a ladder.
So you secured it from inside by going over the wall.
We locked the back door, and then we locked the outside of the back door courtyard, and
Yes.
then we used a ladder and we climbed over the back wall, and then we locked that from the outside as well.
So that's locked on both sides.
Yes.
That explains a little bit more.
hmm But should we need to make a faster getaway, then I believe the sewer is going to be our best bet.
Oof.
At that point, I will ask Afford if he knows where the sewer entrance is.
Yes, he will direct you to it. It's basically near where the crates of clinker are.
Before I go near the crates of clinker,
Mhm.
I will also ask if there's any way we can make it a bit brighter in here.
Oh yes, there are lanterns. Feel free to bring the lanterns here, and we can light them.
How
Okay,
many?
I help pick up some lanterns.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we can actually see what we're doing.
Yep, you can indeed. You can illuminate the area quite nicely.
So our vision is almost normal vision,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. You can see because you're roaming around a bit, but Luricane, I think, is still probably being a bit reticent about
Yeah.
going too close
No,
to anywhere
that
dangerous.
I understand. That's part of the reason I wanted to make it a bit brighter so that I can see if I have to do anything.
You can see that in addition to the metalworking tools, there are also general crafting tools, rolls of leather and rolls of parchment on the tables. Everything is very well organised and categorised.
When you say rolls of leather, what's the width of this leather?
Couple of feet long, and we are talking rolled up.
So they're rolls that are about that. Yeah, okay.
Maybe 2 feet long and rolled up maybe 4 or 5 inches thick.
Okay.
So,
Do you want to do us or cut to the others?
I will stick with you guys for
Okay.
a while.
Whilst
What-
Master Alexei makes his preparations, perhaps we can talk a little further.
Yes.
We-
Afford, goes and starts pouring drinks.
Mm.
They're into tankards. These are clean. I'm sorry, they're not the glass.
That's quite all right.
And you a cold iron tankard.
No, wooden.
I take and sip delicately from it.
It's schnapps.
I sip slightly less delicately.
Yeah, it's not served in the best of containers, but it is
No.
halfway decent.
I'm from a fellow German, I would expect so.
Can I still see the front door and the office from the sewer entrance?
Yes.
Okay. Because obviously I'm keeping my eyes sort of on a swivel.
Yeah, and with the office door open, you can hear a conversation going on,
Yeah.
as long as you
Okay.
don't start doing anything too industrial.
No, I'm not doing anything too industrious.
Out of respect for Alexei, I'm going to keep the conversation in English.
Okay.
Um, forgive me if I do not stand on ceremony here, but if matters are as dangerous as we suspect, then I don't think either of us have time for more indirect pleasantries. What do you know of Mr. Chekhov's disappearance, sir?
I hope he is not dead. That he's been taken by bad people.
Do you think that he has been taken, or that he engineered his...
He had no intention of fleeing. He had no reason to flee. We had escaped.
What were your dealings with him prior to... Have you had dealings with him prior to his appearance in London?
Yes. We worked for him for years, since apprenticeship. We worked
You were
for him.
his apprentices?
Yes. My brother and I, we came to him. It was a great honour. We've worked for him for 6, maybe 7 years now.
In the dwarf holds or in Prussia?
In Prussia. He was in need of... he slips into German briefly and then back to English. Artificers. He was in need of people with skill. He had ideas, but he needed the talent.
And he cut contact with you at some point?
He's been trying to protect us. He was taken from Prussia as a big secret. A big escape, but we left on our own just before him. He arranged for our leaving.
Do you know if he left Prussia of his own accord?
Yes. He wanted to come to England. He had things that he didn't want the Prussians to have, despite them paying for it, despite us paying for it.
I'm guessing the plans to that machine in the painting that I know that you were looking at the night of his disappearance. That was 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 nights ago.
God said all.
Actually, no, that was last night.
Yes,
At this point-
yes, game time.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of things in a very short space of time.
Yeah.
At this point, I will have made my way back to beside the door.
Okay. The gun.
Yes, sir. Presumably, we are talking about the plans for said
Yes.
device, sir.
Yes.
Do you believe that he has them on him?
He looks slightly baffled. No. Except in his mind. But the plans are in the museum. Or they were.
Do you mean
Sorry,
the painting?
the actual blueprints for the construction are in the British Museum, or were at the...
They were in the painting. They are the painting.
Oh.
But was that display not cleared out after the party?
I don't know. We've been in hiding since. We couldn't dissuade him from selling the painting, but
Did you leave the museum prior to his leaving?
yes, we tried to persuade him not to go through with the sale.
Who was he intending to sell to?
He was dealing with the wife of the man who took him out of Prussia. She had arranged the sale to the English government. It would have given him protection, but I didn't.
A condition of him being brought here.
Yes.
I may have missed it, but how did you know he disappeared? If you left before him?
You hear things, and someone has been following, and we didn't
Someone
feel
has been
safe.
following you?
Can you elaborate on someone?
Do you have any kind of description?
No, just a feeling of being watched. You feel
A
in the
bit
back
like
of your
us
head.
the other night.
But it was in the papers this morning that there had been murders at the museum, and that Chekhov had been vanished.
Were you aware of any other Fae in the museum that night?
He looks thoughtful. I don't believe there were any at the party that I saw. I think there was another of yours in one of the guards arranged for Chekhov. But I don't know who that was. I think I saw
Turn
one.
to Luricane and say that's possibly our friend in the other wing.
Yes. When you say part of the guards, as in one who is with him, who is guarding him when you were discussing matters.
He wasn't there with him, but he was in the same uniform, had the same swords as the men who were with him.
Right. Where do you have any idea where this person was standing during your conversation?
We saw him in the yard outside, the courtyard outside, before we came in to see him, before we came in to dissuade Chekhov. If he'd listened to us, this would not be happening.
Okay. So, another Fae. Forgive me, I'm thinking out loud here.
Okay.
Random question.
Did you see any
for
other
Happy.
persons in the courtyard other than this Fae in uniform?
Not that I remember. We were leaving quickly. We didn't want to be in the middle of spies and danger. And I think there was signs of danger.
What
We
made
knew
you
it
think
was-
that?
Because we had just escaped Prussia with a dangerous weapon that could flatten the castle.
But if he was willing to put it on display, he couldn't have thought there was that much danger.
He
Nobody
obviously
knew it was on display. The painting is nothing. The
do you mean
canvas. The canvas is everything.
Yes.
We
Which would explain the feeling that I had when I approached the painting.
yes, we worked. We worked from his blueprints, but we embroidered the canvas with thread of iron.
How ingenious.
And then he painted the canvas over the top. He painted the oils.
Quite ingenious, actually.
How easy would it be for someone to read said blueprints in this canvas?
If you remove the oils,
Very.
it's,
I'm guessing that-
yeah.
I'm guessing that anyone with any sense of engineering ability.
Yes, I mean it is complex engineering.
The
We
next
could
question
never
then,
have built it on our own, but
that's what I was about to
we-
ask.
the prototype is certainly, it is understandable. It doesn't use any individual principle that is beyond any engineer. It is putting the principles together. That's where his genius lies.
Is the
So,
there was a model of it also on display, wasn't there?
There
Or was it just the painting?
I think it was just the painting. There was a model of something else.
Oh, right, okay. So, we need to ascertain where the whereabouts of that painting is. Does anybody else know that the canvas, other than you and Chekhov, you, your brother, and Chekhov?
The biggest question is, does anyone in Prussia know?
The Harrisons, they knew. They
They
knew
knew.
that the painting was important.
But they don't know specifically why it was important.
No. They knew it had to be on display as a shop front, a demonstration, a shop sign.
Yes.
But they did
But-
not know.
They did not
So-
know it to be anything other than that.
No.
Yes.
The image on the canvas doesn't correlate to what the blueprint is.
The
Or does
blueprint lets you build the image on the canvas. The gun on the canvas
It's big.
It is, yes.
It is castle mounted.
It can
How-
be castle mounted. It can be mounted on a railway. It can be mounted on a cart.
With its intended purpose being?
To blow up a castle, Master Alexei.
No,
well,
not to
no.
blow up. To destroy.
Because I thought the image was more of a harpoon type cannon.
It
No.
fires drills.
Yes, it was just,
It fires
If-
drills.
yeah.
You fire drills under. And it undermines the foundations and it brings down the
It
entire
falls in on
structure.
itself.
Lyricane looks aghast at this.
You
Brings me back to my
understand now
question.
why we had to destroy the prototype and why Chekhov had to flee.
So there was one built in Prussia as a prototype,
We built it.
And it
and you're
works.
100%
Why?
sure that was destroyed?
We know it was destroyed.
With
My brother
no
and
way
I
of being
destroyed it.
salvaged?
Nobody could salvage that. Steam explosions can be very destructive.
Yes. That gives me a little bit of ease in my mind.
I ask again, why? Why would you build such a thing?
Because when your family is under threat, there's a limit to what you will not do.
Right.
So you were asked to create this by I assume, the Prussian government.
By
And I'm guess-
by men working for the Prussian government, yes.
And I'm
As you
guessing
believe.
Mr. Chekhov was under the same kind of threats. Yes,
See-
okay.
I think he had a wife. But by the time he decided to escape, he had no wife anymore.
The next question is a hit in the dark.
Hmm.
I don't suppose while you were working on that prototype you ever heard of what the intended target might be?
Anywhere? We didn't ask such questions. We did enough that our families stayed safe. And our hold was not the first
Fair enough.
target.
Fair enough.
And then
Prussia has many enemies. Prussia has many targets, Master Alexei.
Yes, but I'm assuming with it being such a large weapon, you're going to be building it in the region of said target.
it
If the
can,
intended target wasn't in the UK,
it can be mounted on
Rails.
rails,
or
on steam engines.
On a
Of,
they
boat?
could they could
Yes.
probably move it around. They could probably move it around Prussia relatively easily. Once you start getting to a border, that's when you start to have problems.
exactly.
However,
So the idea is to build it inside the country that you're going to use it in.
Exactly.
that
Or on a boat.
would be best. The ideal would be to build the components and then to assemble them. He's switched into a more professional tone of voice now. He's not. His English is significantly less broken. You feel he's now hit his fate,
Comfort
a
zone.
topic. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about now.
So when you say the easiest way would to be build the components, I assume if the components were individual, no one would take a second glance at them.
You could ship them easily enough. You could certainly place them with heavy machinery, any other steam machinery. You could wire in, hook in the pipes, and nobody would know that half the pipes did not belong to the device that you were, the engine that you were driving.
how long would it take to build one of these
From scratch or from component?
from scratch?
From scratch, there's extensive casting, but with the blueprints and an understanding of how the pieces fit together, the first one you could do in a month.
And from
That
parts,
quickly?
if you already had the parts as you described.
With the right manpower,
I'm
people of
intrigued by the fact that
intelligence.
Carter just asked a question while nodding.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, that's the point, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
not outside, but we're on our way
Well,
to rescue the
that's-
other guy.
Yes,
Well,
good
that's-
I
point.
was
Yes,
gonna
sorry.
say-
Mention that
And if
one quickly
you
before
had
you
Sorry,
answer.
sorry.
components available,
Yeah, he
There
did,
we
he did
go.
ask about.
Sorry, is that Livercane's asking?
Well, I mean, it'll be either I or
It's
A,
a
because
re- it's-
it's a
reasonable
he
question.
did mention from parts or from scratch.
Yes, it's a
'cause-
reasonable question. If you know what you are doing, then one day, all day.
What?
If you,
How many manpower?
10 men who know what they are doing, 20 guided by people who know what they are doing.
So
Or one BS Lacus with a welding torch.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that that many people exist at present?
This is what I fear.
If
Some of-
Chekhov is not one of the persons guiding them, do you believe that there are sufficient people around at this time to do so?
I believe that there are sufficient people who can understand the blueprints and build from there, but I do not believe there is anyone else who could invent it.
So the blueprints are key here.
They are. You need
Or
the
having
blueprints.
Chekhov.
Exactly.
we need to
We
go
don't-
back to the museum
Hold up there.
No.
and find out if that.
We need to know where we need to know where that painting is.
Yeah.
I also believe that you and your brother need more secure surroundings. Right. Is there anything else that you can tell us about either Master Chekhov or the involvement of his connections here? Does the name Benjamin Hawke mean anything to you?
He goes pale.
So that would be a yes.
That's a yes then.
I've
Yeah.
heard this name. He was an option when getting Chekhov out. He was one of the people listed by Chekhov as an option of someone who could get him out. We could leave. We were never seen. We always worked with masks, so none of the superiors ever saw our faces. We were just dwarves. We were just menials.
So why the personal threat of family then, if they did not know who you were?
Because there are the seniors, there are the supervisors, and then there is the man who owns the fortress. He knew who we were.
Right.
But the people who watched us, the people who guarded,
Do you have that man's name?
the man with the fortress,
Yes.
Yes.
Maximilian. That's all we ever heard. He simply called himself Maximilian.
And this is the fortress where the prototype was built. Where in Prussia was this?
He will describe, because I'm not
Yeah.
confident enough on my geography, but he will describe a point about 100 miles from the border.
Does it match
with
where I thought?
Bavaria, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a region. There is a mountainous region, and basically, it is there. The fortress is. It's all forges. There are other many brilliant men in there, but I think they are all loyal.
Right.
Is it possible without the blueprint they could have manufactured the parts for another weapon?
Without the blueprint, no. We destroyed the original. We
either
thoroughly
need-
destroyed the original.
Well, I'm just saying if the
for
blueprint shows whether to build the parts or whether to put them together.
all of it, I'm guessing.
It shows the complete process.
No, that's fair enough.
Right. We need.
We
So
need to leave.
why? So you say he was mentioned. Mr. Hawke was mentioned as a possible way of extracting him from Prussia.
Yes.
Why do you blanch at the name?
Because we all heard stories from English and Bavarian agents, I believe. They
His
were visitors And we heard stories that this man is brutal, this man is not a good man.
His reputation precedes him that far.
Mm.
And Chekhov obviously declined.
He did. He made contact with George Harrison, who works for the English. He is English, I think.
Yes, we have met him.
And he has contacts, he has experience, and he extracted Chekhov and brought him over the border.
I have a question about Chekhov.
Mm.
Something struck me at the party. Although he's taller than you, is he of dwarven descent?
There is no such thing. A human cannot be of dwarven descent.
I didn't say he was human.
He is.
That's what I was trying to
He is human.
ascertain.
Sparks burn him.
He just may be a short human.
It was just going back to something I remember from our first sort of encounter of them fighting, and there was things said, and it made us wonder.
I think this is why
if he
he
was
liked
dwarven.
working with dwarves in addition to our superior skills. He didn't have to look up. Most people, when working with them, he had to look up.
Understandable.
Yes. Right. So.
Okay, I'll let you mull that one
Yeah,
over.
we'll mull that one over.
And while mulling, Randolph, ironically, Randolph and Carter
Yes.
can head round.
Keeping a close eye out for anything with tentacles on its face.
Okay, you can
I'm
make.
definitely not reading the Necronomicon.
Yeah, you can indeed make your way along the frontage of the warehouses. Turn right, and you approach. It's still commercial, but there are shops serving the commercial area. Wholesalers, some general traders, a couple of newspaper vendors, that sort of thing. It's winding down because it's now kicking on for 5.
Yeah.
People are sort of packing up and pulling displays
The
in.
one that sells food.
Okay. I'm not going to make you make a perception check for that. There is a place that sells, judging by what's sat outside, there are wax-wrapped loaves of bread, and you can see ice in buckets in which are lying, looks like lamb, you hope,
Okie dokie, well, we'll
in trays.
wander in there then.
Okay.
Looking to just see if there's
Looking
any
around to see
signs
if
of
there's,
a dwarf
Okay.
yeah.
in the
There-
vicinity.
There are a fair few people. The shop actually goes back quite a way, and it's the equivalent of a corner shop, to be honest. There are a few shelves, mostly behind the counter, but there are also some displays in the actual shop itself, which is unusual. A civilized shop, you would speak purely to the shopkeeper. However, there is a certain element of pick up and take to the counter. It's either this is a trusting area, or they just don't have enough space behind for all the assorted bits and bobs they sell.
What was the name of the dwarf? Was it Avod?
Arvin. It's Avod is the one you've been dealing with.
Avod's the one, yeah.
Yeah, Arvin is the one who's gone out shopping.
So yes, as I step inside, I shall call out in Welsh,
Mm-hmm.
Master Arvin, are you here?
There is a surprised... Yeah? And, again, responding in Welsh. And from the private area behind the counter, a dwarf pops his head out and says in Welsh, "Who's asking?"
Does
My
he
name
look
is
like the
Randall.
guy that I bumped
Mine-
into and B looked back at the?
Yeah.
That's a relief.
My name is Sir Randolph Quigley. Your we're here on behalf of your brother. He's fine. Don't worry. He's with some friends of ours at the moment. We know that you're concerned for your safety, both of you.
Yes.
He felt it was a bad idea for you to be here alone, so we came simply to take you back to the warehouse.
Ah. Right. There is a low murmur behind the wall next to the doorway. And
Did you say low murmur?
yes.
As in of people or...
Of person.
Low murmur of person.
And
The sort of low murmur of person that one might get a perception check for.
one might, yes.
The low murmur
Sounds
of
like
a
a
person
reasonable
holding
idea.
a dagger to somebody's back.
Sorry, what did you say?
So,
Oh, I need a card.
Okay, yes. Oh, sorry.
I shall draw a card.
so now I'm going to drop this Joker in.
Ah!
Now, perception, you say? That's diamonds, isn't it?
It is.
I shall drop this jack in.
Yeah. So this is a 15 of diamonds here, essentially, as I understand the rules.
That's an 11 of diamonds
Plus
plus
my
my...
4 gives me 19.
Yeah, I'm not going to match his 19,
Uh-huh.
but that's 11 plus my... 6 gives me 17.
Oh, and now when I think there might be a fight about to happen, I start drawing red cards.
Okay. The murmur is higher pitched than his voice
Oh.
and quite musical. And generally speaking, you would probably peg it as feminine. Overall. So, what are you doing?
Well, for the moment, waiting to see what he's doing.
Given that I'm not entirely certain that there isn't someone else there who's sort of 6 foot tall, blonde, named Hawk, applying pressure to various people,
Okay.
I'm still going to make sure that my hand is close to my firearm.
Okie dokie. Right.
But otherwise, I'm staying completely stum, just letting Quigley do all the talking.
Okay. Oh dear. Right. The dwarf steps out from the doorway and keeps one hand just out of sight, pointing back the way he came. You hear a murmur, and then he says, "No, stay."
Have you concluded your transaction?
Nope.
There is an indignant little snort, and a young lady with delicately pointed ears,
Oh, for Christ's sake, just bring the girl with you.
canted eyes, and a ridiculously turned up nose, not much taller than the dwarf, storms out. Girl. I'm not a girl. I'm have you know I am a full-grown lady.
I'll have you know, I don't give a damn.
Your ladyship, do you believe... sorry, let me ask this question of your companion. Arvin, do you believe that, to quote your brother, the bad men might be aware of your relationship?
I know the guy's reputation. I believe it.
I would hope not. What
It's just,
bad
if so,
man?
it might be safer if she were to come with us, just for the moment.
I can't come with anyone. I don't want to come with anyone.
Those are two very different sentences. Which one do you actually mean?
I mean, if I do not return to the river, there will be no me to have dealings with.
Right. Okay. That then, absolutely, I suggest then that you do so at the earliest possible opportunity.
Which
is to say now.
On? What the?
It's unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to divulge too much information since this is a matter of national security.
Okay. She flushes slightly. You can't tell with anger or embarrassment, and her blushes are slightly blue. This flush spreads up her cheekbones, and her cheekbones look a little sharper than they were a moment
more
ago.
literal?
I have a great education. Am I likely to know anything at all about... Presumably she's some sort of naiad, but...
You would peg her as a lake lady. I'm not even going to make you roll and make you draw for that.
Can she get me a better sword?
It encompasses a huge swathe of the Fae.
Yeah,
But they are all tied to bodies of water.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that she might have a certain feralness about her if she's tied to the Thames.
I've read most, all but the most recent, I think, of the Peter Grant novels. I've got an idea.
Yeah. There's...
The Thames is a bloody big river. Can we go now?
Yes.
Suffice to say, madam, that your companion is currently under some potential degree of threat. We have to ascertain exactly how much and whether the threat is real. But until we are sure that it is not, I would recommend that you take some steps to render yourself, shall we say, difficult to find.
Stay safe, you idiot. Don't get killed. But, yes, I will... Find me, okay? You know where I will be. And she grabs the dwarf basically by the beard, pulls him in, gives him a swift kiss on the lips, and then shoves him in your direction and vanishes out to the back.
All the crazy chicks go for the beard.
It's a comment about something to hang on to, but I'm not going to go there. How do you know what they look like under there? So, yes.
Then I think we should perhaps return to your brother.
Post haste.
Yes.
That is the word you'd use, isn't it? Post haste.
Yes.
Yes, that would apply.
Yes. We should be safe. I thought we were safe. He is hurrying after you, though. Grabs up a string bag containing some paper wrap packages.
Yeah, well, I think someone's doing some cleanup.
Safe is a commodity in short supply just at the moment.
But we were hiding. We were doing a very good job of hiding.
Yes.
Not that good. We found you.
But you found... Oh. Yes. Right.
If you hadn't been tailing us, we wouldn't have found you.
I didn't think that was a good idea. We shouldn't have done that.
Yes, it wasn't a good idea. You
shouldn't have done it.
Correct.
But we were worried.
I'll tell you what else isn't a good idea. Talking
What?
about this in a public place like this. Let's wait until we get back to your place.
Yep.
Yes.
Good point.
Yes.
Let's move.
Okay. And...
Cue ambush and dramatic cliffhanger.
Sod off, fish! Okay.
I was about to say that's what we would expect. Therefore, it is
Yep.
unlikely.
The thing is, this is designed to be
Oh, yeah.
slightly cliche. It plays to all the tropes.
Yeah, exactly.
They
I'm
are-
just thinking this is the perfect time
It
for an
is.
ambush, and it's about the point that we normally end the stream,
Yes.
so I'm figuring an ambush
Yeah.
is about to
Yes.
happen.
As you can make your way back in safety, back round to the docks. The sun is starting to go behind the clouds. It's not actually going down yet, but the buildings are relatively tall, shadows are a thing, and it's clouding over. It's thus in distinct twilight as you get to the door of the warehouse, and behind you you hear... Oh God, I can't do a Scottish accent. I promise I cannot do a Scottish accent without at least half the country wanting me dead. So please envision this in pure Highlands. And where do you think you're going?
Do we know if Hawk is Scottish? We've never heard him actually.
You've never
have
heard
we?
him speak.
Do I know anything from his reputation as to whether he's a Scot?
You have heard he is British,
But that could mean Scottish.
but that could mean Scottish, or it
Let's
could
take a
just...
leap, shall we?
Well,
You turning to
Randolph
face the
will-
voice?
Randolph will whirl, on his back heel, draw his cane, sword cane, and thrust the dwarf behind him with his left hand.
I was going to say, thrust at the dwarf. Yeah, screw you, they can't take you prisoner if you're dead.
Aha, seppuku for both of us!
They're only going to be if I kill the
alive.
dwarf first.
And you turn to face... I take it Carter is looking as well.
Oh yeah.
You
Carter's
turn
already
to
after
face
defending.
6 men. All of a distinctly beefy type. The leader, i.e. the one who is standing slightly further forwards, has flaming red hair and a long curly beard.
Brilliant. It's not Hawk.
Not Hawk, so we may not be dead.
And
Well, it's just a random dockside gang.
and they step towards you. And the leader says, give the dwarf to us, and you can live.
Are they close enough to the warehouse for us to have heard anything?
No. And we'll
How
call
close to
it
the warehouse are we?
where you're at the door.
At the door. Excellent. Yes, in that case, we can just send the dwarf in to get reinforcements.
Yes,
I
we are
summoned
in.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, we are in full-on Ochai the New territory for these guys. So we will call it there, as half a dozen Scottish toughs.
And let's
Dun,
hope
dun, dun,
that this
dun,
fight
dun, dun.
was slightly better for Randolph than the last one he got involved in.
Is that before or after Randolph has sent the dwarf in for reinforcements?
I did say I was shoving the dwarf behind me. I haven't actually instructed him to go and get help as yet, but that's what I'm going to be doing as soon as first round of combat. We'll just be pushing him towards the door and saying, get help.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
actually,
being-
others, in fact.
I'm being far less subtle than that. I'm just going to draw the pistol and start blasting.
Awesome.
Yeah, that works.
Oh,
They don't seem scared of the blade. Maybe the bullet will do it.
Yep.
How many rounds you got?
Well, it's a pistol, so there'd be 6.
6. And 6 of them.
Let's hope your draw's quick.
So don't miss.
Right. So next session, we will be starting with an accosting and a mugging.
Yes.
Yep. They try to accost us and we mug them.
That sounds right.
Right. Broad daylight, attempted kidnapping. What are you going to do? So,
Kick the crap out of them.
yeah, I hope you enjoyed that.
yeah,
Let's go.
definitely.
Oh, yes.
I
Thank
hope
you, Dra-
Very much so.
I hope the clouds are, if not clearing, then at least parting slightly to give you an idea of what in Satan's name is going on.
No, I think the clouds are still there, but now we're seeing shapes in them.
Yeah.
I'm with Fish.
I hope it wasn't too much of an info dump.
No, I think
No, it's
necessary at this point.
It was mapped out so that this was the information that the brothers have,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was all they could tell you. Well, they could tell you what you needed to know, but you had to win their trust, and you did that very well. So, grats. So, you have an idea of what you're doing, and unfortunately, you're now getting jumped on.
That's fine.
So,
We have two of us, I think, that are reasonable in a scrap
yeah, you've got a
from
couple.
very different angles. And I'm pretty
Depends
sure
on
we
your
have two
definition.
others that are fairly good at the subtleties of making the most of the situation to help those of us that can do the less than subtle bits.
And you've got some pent-up frustration at having been under threat.
Randolph is not exactly a glass cannon, but maybe he makes it as far as a glass ballista.
Right,